Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Dyer's Place. And as you can tell by the background, we are again discussing music.
We are, and oh shit, I forgot to post this to the Discords I usually post this to. I guess I'll get on that while you're doing your opening spiel.
But yes, more music stuff. And hello, Kate, and hello, Jay. How you guys doing?
Hey, Kate. Hey, Jay. How's it going?
Weren't expecting me to stream again this soon, were you?
I wasn't, but wanted to discuss more music. Let's frickin' do it. I say belligerently for no good reason whatsoever.
Well, we were discussing stuff during the week, and we're like, it'd be cool if we went and, because we each have bands we both universally listen to, and then there's, bands and other such that only one or the other listen to. So to try and give ourselves a little more exposure to each other's bands we listen to, we decided to do this musical challenge. So I selected 5 albums for Mike to listen to. He selected 5 albums for me to listen to. So the question is, what did we think of them?
See, plug. Yeah, it's like the physical challenge from Double Dare, but musical instead. Mm-hmm. So not really much like that at all.
And perhaps maybe a better question would be, what albums did we pick? Well, we're not going to give you guys a list or anything. We're just going to go down and start talking about them. But in order to let a couple of the people filter in before we start, let's just ask how everyone's doing tonight. I see Kate finished their work for the day, so they're all good. How about you, Jay?
Hey, Sharon. What's up?
Yeah, she's here. And give me 1 second here. All right. And let's see. So, yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Jay. And no, Sharon, the stream I threatened you with is not going to happen tonight either. Nope, as much as I wouldn't mind doing it, there will be no Bon Jovi trashing on tonight's stream, or Motley Crue, or Poison, or that stuff. That's as close as we're going to get. So, all right. But yes, I hope everyone's doing all right. I hope everyone had a good week. My week was up and down, I can tell you that. I had several days where I was just super, super, super busy, and then finally started to, not be so busy this morning.
I like to not be so busy ones more, personally.
Yeah.
But your mileage may vary.
Well, how was your week then?
Graciously unremarkable. That's all I can think of to say.
Graciously unremarkable or unremarkably gracious?
Whichever one has me just like not, making my head explode every day, which like the guy like Tony Shalhoub from Men in Black, which I'm very thankful for that I'm not usually predisposed towards that, but...
Does that imply or implode?
Exactly. It says here we're rat.
Rat? Huh.
No, well, I guess we won't be talking about them, but... Yeah, my hosting and writing chops just feel like they've been lost back in... I don't know, El Segundo or whatever. I might be a little loopy for this one. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm fully there today, if that's all right. But then when am I ever, to be fair?
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. You should know that. You should know that by now.
Yes.
Yep.
I had a few errands to run earlier today and got blocked off on it because there was a wreck or something that they had to block off the entire road.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, now, luckily I wasn't driving because honestly I can't drive anymore.
Mm.
So my oldest stepdaughter or youngest stepdaughter was driving. So we had to basically double back, turn around, and go all the way around where this wreck was in order to get to our destination.
That sounds considerably inconvenient.
It only gave us about an extra 10 minutes on the trip.
Oh, well.
So it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be originally, but still, it would have been easier just to go the direct route. But that wasn't happening.
10 is less than 11, I suppose.
Yeah, and it could have been a fatality for all we know.
Oh, how very Mortal Kombatian that would have been.
Well, if you think about it, if it had been a friendship or an animality or something like that, they probably wouldn't have had to block the road.
Yeah. Anyway, those are nicer. Let's focus on those. Like,
friendship.
Let's do something nice. Like Jerry Taylor would have said. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a topic for a different stream entirely.
You know what? Yeah, good point. Let's save that for that.
Yeah. All right. That said, I'm glad y'all made it. So let's just go ahead and kick things off then. Mike, why don't you go with the first album I had you pick?
All right.
Wait,
well,
strike that. Let me rephrase it. The first album I picked for you.
There was a first specifically? I thought you just gave all 5 of them to me at once.
I did. I'm just, circling around in my head.
All right. Well, actually, let me see if I have like the exact list in the order you put it in, or if not that, maybe I should just go chronologically.
Yeah, do whatever feels right.
All right. Oh, that is actually the first one you gave me. All right. Well, in that case, let us start off on
Snarbus here.
Hey, Snarbus, what up?
Yeah, just in time to go into the challenge.
So, let me see. I would say then that the one to start off would be a band that I don't think they were exactly a one-hit wonder, but you probably know them more for one song than anything. Little 90s ditty by the name of Right Here, Right Now, but they've done quite a bit more around that and since then, and that's actually not the song of this album on. The album in question is the third album by the English band Jesus Jones, titled Perverse.
Yes.
One that has a very crusty-looking luchador on the cover.
It's interesting. If you actually open up the booklet for that, you see the luchador as it, like the camera's panning out.
Ooh.
And it turns out there's actually 2 of them there, along with a girl.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one that actually mentions Sonic the Hedgehog in the liner notes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 93, I guess his Genesis heyday was in full swing around this time, so...
And the purple album that Sharon's talking about was called Doubt. That's the one that has Right Here, Right Now on it.
Yeah, that would probably be their biggest known one, as it were. Yeah, I gotta admit, but before this, I didn't really know a lot about Jesus Jones, myself until you introduced this to me, but, I do remember that Stewie took an unnecessary barb at them on Family Guy for some fucking reason, because fuck you, Seth MacFarlane. They don't deserve that. Come on. But, where would I start? Like, what genre would you classify them as?
That's actually a very good question.
Not quite rock, not quite techno, not quite grunge. I don't know.
They were leaning a little more into electronic on that album.
Yeah. No, the synths were very forward and heavy on this one. So
yeah, not as poppy as Doubt.
Oh yeah, no. I forget if I've ever listened to Doubt in full. I might have once, but it's been a long time if I have.
I'll give him points for actually including a line from the TV show Sledgehammer on that album.
Yeah, you mean Sledgehammer! Exclamation point.
That's the one.
That's God. I gotta get on that one someday. It seems
Trust
like
me, I know what I'm doing. Yeah,
Yep.
the reddish orange one is one Mike's talking about now. Perverse.
Yes, 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 yes. That's huh. You know, it's not a bad idea to identify albums by color. I think you had to do that for a couple bands here and there, but like fucking Weezer, for example.
Yeah, the blue, the green, the teal, the fuchsia,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Betty actually has their first album too, Liquidizer.
Oh, sweet.
But
Well,
anyway, yes, on to Perverse.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if we want to say anything else about the band leading up, because again, you know more about them than I do, but if we're just talking... Oh, yeah, Sharon, he did mention that, yes, Sonic was mentioned in the liner notes for Perverse, because it was the 90s, and it was the time for Sonic, apparently.
It was also the time for Clax, but
Yeah, anyway.
we're not really going to talk about the bands so much, rather than the albums that we listen to.
Okay.
So we don't need, no need to do any kind of potted history on the band or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Otherwise, the stream might be too long, and I might be hopping on one leg for most of it.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
But yes. So, Perverse, good album. I actually listened to it twice before doing this, and I think I liked it even more on the second shot. It's I feel like I trip over myself a lot whenever I'm using words to describe music, and that's like the sort of caveat that we worried about with this one. That it's kind of hard to use words to describe a completely audio medium, but
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best with this one that I can. But sometimes this one I felt like dancing to. Sometimes this one I felt like headbanging to. Sometimes it felt like the best word I can describe is acidic for its for its like lead synth, especially in the title track and the best known track off this one, Zeros and Ones. The one goes like it's a very distinct sound that really grabs my ears right away. It's insanely catchy as well. It's like, yeah, I really don't know whether to call them more of a rock band or a dance band at this point, but they're pretty damn diverse. Like I made like quick notes for all the tracks, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but like I said stuff like The Devil You Know. The second track has what I call a good desert oasis beat, and I really like the use of drums on that one. A couple tracks I said actually reminded me a bit of U2, and I mean that as a good thing. In this case, particularly because this is around the time that Achtung Baby would have been out. So some of the tracks definitely felt darker. From Love to War was a bit darkish. Spiral was probably the darkest of them all. It is like I said, like for that one, it comes out the gate with guns blazing before quieting down to an ominous hum, and it had a really interesting sort of moody feel to it. And I said, like, Your Crusade, I wrote down this silly note where I'd say, it sounds like it would fit in well with an action movie, so, like, get Tom Cruise to run to this one. I certainly jot down some curious things on the notepad, and damn good album. Makes me want to explore the band's work more. Very unique, very 90s.
Oh,
and
yes.
again, I do mean that positively. Like, this does not sound like something that would have come out like last decade or even in the 2000s. But I do like the sort of time capsule feel of it, and it makes me think that Jesus Jones was maybe a little bit unfairly lumped in with some of the other more, flash in the pan rock acts of the day. Like, there's another band that I think I confused them with. Do you remember who that was? If that was like anyone that,
Would you be thinking of EMF?
EM. Oh yeah, the Unbelievable Guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's them, but you know what? That is sort of a similar-ish sound, the sort of cut between rock and techno that they sort of cut there, like lots of the Stereo MCs also. Maybe I was thinking a bit of Third Eye Blind also, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
That does not compute here.
Okay, no, scratch that then. That seems a little bit disparaging, because honestly, I fucking hate Semi-Charmed Life. Jesus Jones is much better than that, Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, Weird Al made fun of it in one of his polkas. That's where he had the glass shatter. But yeah, like I said, solid album. I get the feeling they're a pretty underrated band. I'd like to look more into them. I would like to ask you, though, why did you choose Perverse instead of Doubt, if I may ask?
Because Doubt is the album that basically gave people the impression they were just a one-hit wonder.
Good point. Very good point.
And B, I've liked Perverse ever since I first heard it. Out of all their albums that I've heard, that's my favorite.
Well, can't argue with that logic, and an overall good choice. If if there are any other recommendations you have for JJ or any comments on them, because you know more about them than I do, I guess maybe a thought I did have about the band in general, though. Do you think the name misled people to think they were like Christian rock or some bullshit?
That is entirely possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't unbelieve it, whatever the case.
Sharon, they have at least 3 albums. I will say this. When I was in high school, must have been my junior year, there was a girl who sat behind me. And in I think it was my either history or psychology class, one of the two. And she had her book was basically decorated with Jesus Jones stuff. And we were talking one day, and it's like, who's Jesus Jones? And it was right around the time The Doubt came out. And she mentioned Right Here, Right Now. That would be their first one, Liquidizer, Sharon.
What other albums do you have? That's a good question.
And I just remember looking at her and going, I've never heard of him. Who's Jesus Jones?
Yeah, him. That's another thing. You think that'd be like the frontman was Mike Edwards, as it were, but no, it was like a band, kind of like in the sense that like Marilyn Manson was a band, but like also the guy who was the band. This was kind of like that, but not exactly. And it turns out they've had 6 albums all in all. Turns out all of them are just one word each. After this one was Already, then London, and Passages, which was actually released just like 6 years ago. Interesting.
So 6 albums total. I have not heard the latter 3.
No, but like I said, I wouldn't mind looking more into them, because it's a pretty good intro.
And I'll also let Betty know about them, because I don't know if she knew about the latter 3 either.
Oh, I think another band that I might have mixed them up with was fucking Collective Soul. If that's viable, I don't know.
No, again, Collective Soul, they were more mid-90s alternative. Didn't use any synths at all.
Oh. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. The synths are like the really sort of defining, I think, thrust of the sound they have on here.
On top of that, Collective Soul was an American band.
Oh, yeah, and they were British. All right, well, my music comparisons suck. Like I said, I feel like I'm a little... Yeah, 6 albums. I just looked that up. Honestly, I wasn't sure how much, but I just had to peek at Wikipedia listing, because that's the one source of knowledge ever that ever exists anymore. But
yeah, pretty much.
But yeah.
Of course, now all I can think about is Collective Soul Shine.
oh, and let your light shine down. I will admit the song, what was it called? Weight, I think, or Heavy, Heavy. I like that one
Yeah,
quite a
Heavy's
bit.
decent. So,
Yeah,
all right.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
well, Collective Soul, I had their greatest hits. That was pretty much it.
I guess that's all you really needed, if
Yeah.
even that.
Well, except for the one song they didn't put on there that I liked,
Oh, really?
which was a single, actually.
Oh, which one?
Smashing Young Man.
Don't think I know that one. If you have any recommendations for now, I'll gladly look them up later. So I'll just put that aside on the YouTube.
And I will go ahead and go into the first choice you made for me.
Yep.
That would be Kraftwerk.
Yep.
And don't call, be careful with the CD changer. Hey, Rich.
Hey there, Richard. Hey, sir. How's it going?
So, anyway, yeah, the one you had me listen to was Kraftwerk's Trans Europe Express.
Yeah, probably considered their overall most famed album. It might be a little close between that one, Autobahn, and Der Man Machine, but it usually seems like most people go to this one as sort of a very good summation of how they've sounded at this point. And I realize it's a little bit of a different pitch than what you're normally used to, so as far as what... I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, to put it bluntly, it's not my kind of electronic music.
Yeah.
It does get very repetitive for my taste. And, there is a lot of repetitive music I like, but this just isn't my style. It sounds like the kind of music that they'd play during the old Saturday Night Live skit Sprockets, but I'm sure that was intentional.
I am not familiar with that one. I'll also have to put the aside on that and look it up also.
Sprockets was another skit that Mike Myers came up with. So he plays the lead character, Dieter.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to give you the history of like krautrock and how Kraftwerk's electronica was based from that, but it is indeed very repetitive music. Yeah. Honestly, I do like that myself when I'm looking for something that's more of like a background mood than music that I want to be energized by, but I should have realized that this might not be exactly in Rob's wheelhouse, so don't take it too badly if he doesn't really take with it.
Well, then,
and you didn't, so it is what it is.
To give you an idea of how I felt while I was listening to it, by the third track, I still had not been hooked. So
yeah,
I kind of had a feeling right then it was going downhill. Now, also it seems like the songs Trans Europe Express, Metal on Metal, and Abzug they could have just been stuck together as one song.
They are essentially, and I think some album pressings actually did do that.
And I also noticed that Trans Europe Express, etc., a lot of it sound like the Airwolf theme.
Oh. I forget which one came first, honestly.
Well, this came out, what, 77?
Yeah, Airwolf was an 80s show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but...
resolved.
Yeah. So, and, as I went through the whole thing, it's just like, when they got to Franz Schubert, and it's like, okay, that one's not too bad. I saw someone describe it as being warmer than the earlier part of the album, which it's definitely got that feel to it. But then they closed on Endless, and that was just kind of short and pointless.
Pointless. Ouch.
Yeah.
I will say I don't think I have words that are that harsh for any of the albums that you assigned me to, but then again, he didn't assign me any electronica or hip-hop, so...
Yeah. But, overall, at least I can say it was a quick listen. So, that was a plus.
I kind of feel like it was a mistake picking this one for you now, I'll be honest.
You weren't going to find out if I didn't listen to it. It's kind of like that time you recommended I listen to Ween.
Well, but that went over pretty well. You actually liked the mollusk, right?
Yeah, but you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't recommended I listen to it.
Yeah, you know what? That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to realize though that ultimately, end of the day, if it's not rock, you're probably not going to love it. So I'll keep it in mind if we do another one of these in the future.
Yeah, but for it is what it is. It's for the people who like it. I just am not one of them.
All right, you can at least see why some people might be into it. At least,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
okay, that's all I ask at the very least. Then,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
It's like I'm not gonna say it's a bad album or anything like that. It just personally not my thing.
Okay. All right. So
So
like 2.5 out of 5, I guess.
yeah, if you wanted to give it a numbered rank for myself, then yeah, right around there.
Right around. Yeah. I
So
thought that was something you said you were going to do. I didn't want to put words in your mouth. Sorry.
yeah, I debated about it because I did give every album I listened to a ranking. So
Okay.
it
Well, then
just
you don't have to.
yeah, it's
I think we're good with just the descriptions.
exactly.
Okie
But
dokes.
that's just I did note one thing about the Hall of Mirrors though was
Mm,
kind of haunting and ethereal in a way.
that's my favorite track, actually.
It does drag a bit though.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's pretty long. I won't sugarcoat that, but
it doesn't drag as much as Europe Endless.
yeah, at
That
least.
just that drags.
Well, Endless is in the title. What'd you fucking expect?
I expected to. This is just like my lawsuit against the film, The Never Ending Story. Now,
Oh,
Sharon,
Sharon.
yeah,
Ween is kind of hard to describe, but you can say that they do kind of dip into pop. Yeah, I'd say they're an alternative rock band above all else, but some of their songs really push out into other boundaries. They're extremely eclectic. That's all I can really put them as.
yeah, and at least they weren't the flaming dips lips. Uh,
Yeah, my brother likes those guys. I don't really care for them.
yeah, it's yeah.
Man,
I don't know what to think of them.
magazines, or however that fucking went. I don't think Beavis and Butthead like that one.
No, in fact, I think Beavis was quoted as saying, "I know a guy who sings like a wuss. He's got orange hair and he sings like a wuss."
Shit. Yeah, if there are any Beavis and Butthead quotes you want to bring up that would be relevant, go for them.
Okay. Well, once I think of some more, you go ahead and talk about the next one then, because I'm basically done with crap work.
Alrighty. Chronologically, then, it seems like the next one would be. Yes, kid, it actually kind of is. That's not a bad way to put. I wouldn't be surprised if the Brothers Chaps were actually fans of the band. They seem like they might be. He was actually a heavy inspiration for the creator of SpongeBob,
Yeah, I
but
remember reading that.
that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
Next one to discuss, I think, would be "Become What You Are" by the Juliana Hatfield 3. Which, for the longest time, I actually thought was a country band for some reason. I
Really?
don't know why.
Interesting.
Like, I must have been confusing them with like one of the Dixie Chicks or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
I didn't really know.
we're talking about Julianne Hatfield here. She was one of the, you know, '90s alterna babes.
That's certainly a way of putting it. Yeah, she's Oh shit, Snar. I'm sorry to hear about that, sir. God.
Ew, that
Actually,
does suck.
we were actually at a town today that had a water main burst, and like we ate at a restaurant there, but they could only give us bottles of water because like serving anything else like soda or whatever would have been a no-go. So
Not cool.
plumbing issues all abound. I don't know if that's higher in winter or whatever. Anyway. So yeah, so Julia Anna Hatfield, one of the Alterna babes, and not one that I knew as well, but I guess you put her up in like the same sort of pantheon as like say PJ Harvey or Slater Kinney,
I was
the
thinking more.
Breeders.
I was thinking more along the lines like Tanya Donnelly or Liz Phair.
Liz Phair, I know at least. Exile in Guyville, actually a pretty damn good album, and then she fell the hell off.
Mm.
I don't know who that first person is that you said though.
Tanya Donnelly. She was the lead singer of Belly.
Belly. That does sound familiar, but I don't think I'm too. I don't think I know as much about that. I just remember you mentioning them.
Feed the Tree.
At some point. Oh, that's another one I gotta go look up then.
I never thought I would see anything as stupid as a tree.
Oh, was that Beavis?
Yes, but the album Star, they had a couple of pretty big singles off of that. Yeah, there was Feed the Tree, there was Geppetto, and I'm pretty sure she was in another band before she formed Belly, but I can't think which one off the top of my head.
Well, I can say for sure I like them all more than Courtney Love.
Less said about her, the better. Anyway.
Oh yeah, right. Positive. Unless we didn't like the album that much.
So then, your thoughts on Julian Hatfield 3? Who, keep in mind, they've done 2 albums.
Just 2. Interesting.
And they're separated in time by about 20 years.
Fuck, that's weird. All right. Well, I can say, on the whole, I did like this album. But if I had to pick one that was my least favorite of my 5, it might have been this one. Mostly on the basis that I kind of had trouble distinguishing each track from one another. It's kind of like a 2 sides of a coin, double-edged sword sort of thing. It's a very consistent album that knows what its sound is and sticks almost rigidly to it. And that's not a bad thing, but for the purposes of distinguishing exact tracks, I kind of petered out on taking individual notes on this one, and I don't know if that was something to hold against the album or if I mean, I did listen to this one also twice beforehand, so it definitely was not bad. I just don't think I was feeling it as much as I could have. But it did have some good cuts. My Sister's a great one, and it seems like that one's like the most prominent, one of the most prominent singles off of this. So, like, I said something like, this sounds like a teen dramedy song in a good way, like something that would have played on, like, I don't know, the Gilmore Girls or something. I don't know shit about that show. I'm just pulling it out of my butt.
Interesting.
Like Clarissa Explains It All, or like the Clueless show, or what have you. Yeah, just kind of that sort of '90s feel. Is does that make any sense? I don't know.
That is very '90s.
What Bang's saying? I'm so Disney.
I have still not been able to locate that song. It was a novelty song that was a parody of another one.
Well, whoever wrote it, I want to give them money because they fucking called everything. It predicted the future a little too disturbingly accurately.
Yeah.
But I guess Juliana has a very good knack for being upbeat with some pretty downer and or lascivious lyrics. It's like, hey, this is pretty poppy. Oh no, wait, listening to this, should kids be listening to this? Well, they should be listening to Spin the Bottle, at any rate. That's another one I really liked. It's like...
Yeah, Spin the Bottle was actually a big hit for her.
You know what? I can totally see that. I can see that one also getting pretty big. And I like the last track quite a bit, I Got No Idols, although it's kind of like I Got No Waddles listening to it almost. But
I will say that's actually my favorite track on the album.
It's a fucking great one, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I also really like the starting one, Supermodel. It's like I noted, the very first lyric has the word ass in it. It establishes the laid back yet at times acerbic tone of the album pretty immediately. I did like the lyrics. I gotta say, it is... What?
I was gonna say that first song just kind of talks about the disposableness of magazines, fashion industry, that kind of thing. Yeah. Just read the lyrics, you'll see it.
Yeah, real certainly hard. Like I know that like supermodels were almost kind of like the prototypes to like all those like famous for being famous sort of celebrities, but maybe that wasn't totally deserved. I don't know. And that's another subject for another time.
The first line of the song is the highest paid piece of ash. You know it's not going to last because magazines end up in the trash.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if only Kim Kardashian would go to the fucking trash already. Well, anyway, that is neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, solid album. I do like it, and it is incredibly evocative of the 90s Alterna Girls sound around the time. But like I said, I did have a little bit of trouble picking some of the songs out of the others. Like around the midpoint, it did kind of sound like it ran together. I don't want to necessarily say this is a downside, but I do think that compared to Perverse, where I could pick most of the songs out from each other, I did have a little bit more trouble doing that with this one, if that makes sense. But in the end, I still did like it quite a bit, and I still don't know a lot about Ms. Hatfield, and I certainly wouldn't be opposed to seeking more of her works, even though I see, like you said, that the actual band itself, the three, and I don't know who the other two or three were, was only around for this album, and then they took an extremely long hiatus before doing another, which is pretty interesting, but yeah.
I personally recommend listening to the other album as well as Juliana's album, Only Everything.
Okay. What's that other album called, by the by?
I think it's, let me see if I remember. I think it's Whatever My Love. But let me check. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Juliana Hatfield. All right. Let's take a look. Okay. It's not quite going as fast as I want it to.
Well, dump.
Yes, it's Whatever My Love.
Okay, cool.
So, good album. Starts off kind of weak, but then after the first 2 or 3 songs, it really starts sounding like it could have just come out in the 90s.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All right, sounds like a fair tack.
Yeah. So, but I like them both. So,
yeah, you definitely see why. Again, a good recommendation. Like I said, if I had to call least favorite, it might be this one, but that's only comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
And yes, Sharon, we know that I'm So Dizzy was the original.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I know that song actually. Not off the top of my head.
I remember hearing it a few times when I was younger, and I know I heard I'm So Disney. That may have been done by a local radio station in Florida at the time, which would make sense.
Yeah, it could have been one of those dippy parody things, like all the really fucking obnoxious songs based on the Philadelphia Eagles that some Philly station comes up with.
I have no idea who. Hang on, I have no idea who it was by, Sharon. I've looked for it with no success.
And nuts to sports, the Super Bowl. Fuck that. I'm not into any of that now. So, meh.
But just if you want to take an aside about like novelty songs like that, the local radio station in Florida where I was living at the time, they did a ton of them. Sometimes about local news personalities.
That's pretty inside baseball.
Well, did you ever hear that song? I think it was by Tripping Daisy. It's called "I Got a Girl."
Oh yeah, zip him back up. He sucks. Yep. I specifically remember Beavis and Butthead busting on that one, and it's pretty excellent.
They actually did a parody on that station about one of the local newscasters.
Weird. Huh.
And it was not Belly, Sharon. No idea who it was. But there was some other stuff that got played on the radio from time to time, like Vanna, Pick Me a Letter. It was cute. A song about Wheel of Fortune. And with the immortal line, Vanna, I don't mean to stare, but are you wearing underwear?
Jesus Christ.
I know that was a parody, too, so. A lot of the stuff I heard on Dr. Demento when I was younger.
Oh, nice. Oh, great. I have 2 mortal enemies. I'm only 10, and I or wherever that line was.
Yeah. Hey, it's Dr. Demento. Ah! All right. Anyway. On to my next album, then. You know what this means, don't you, Mike?
What does it mean?
Means the stage was set for the Alan Parsons Project, which I believe was some short hovercraft.
Oh, that one reference. Don't wear it out.
No, that's the only one I'm going to say. Anyway, the next one Mike picked for me was the Alan Parsons Project iRobot. Now, I've heard Alan Parsons Project before, like Eye in the Sky, and good stuff, but I haven't listened to a lot of their stuff. So, anyway, the key to this plan is the giant laser. It was invented by the noted Cambridge physicist Dr. Parsons. Therefore, we shall call it the Alan Parsons Project. Oh my God. What now? The Alan Parsons Project is a progressive rock band in 1982. Why don't you just name it Operation Wang Chung, ass? I'm sorry, I don't... Oh, nothing. I'm sure Operation Bananarama will be huge.
Was this from Clerks the Animated Series?
No, it was actually from Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Oh wow. Really has been a long time since I've seen that one.
Yeah, it was from the same scene where Dr. Evil takes the giant inflatable globe and starts, bouncing off of Rob Lowe's head. Oh, you're going to cry now?
Okay, yeah, I think I do remember that.
Okay. So, this one I like.
Awesome. Very awesome.
Yep. And, iRobot in particular, like that first, it just kind of starts, and it just kind of slowly fades in and then builds up to the song and then it just keeps going.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
And let's see. I think the only song which didn't click with me at first was Don't Let It Show.
Yeah, that wasn't my favorite either. It's more of a sort of almost sappy sort of ballad type number. I've heard schmaltzier of this make. I don't dislike it, but it does kind of let down the sort of energy that the rest of the album has.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel like from Heal the World from Michael Jackson's Dangerous also, but we're not discussing the album right now. It was just the only thing I could think of for parody.
Let's see. According to Rich, there's an I'm So Dizzy music video on YouTube based on the 1969 song by Tommy Rowe. I'll have to look into that one. Make a note of that here.
Yeah, if that is the thing, that would be pretty impressive to finally find this lost piece of archaeology.
A lost piece of archaeology.
That I could have phrased that better, I'm sure.
Yes.
It belongs in a museum, etc.
So maybe that's the one. We'll find out at some point soon. But and then they had another couple of tracks in the album where it's basically like Nucleus and Day After Day. Because Nucleus is instrumental, just kind of segues right into Day After Day.
ABP does have quite a few instrumentals, for better or worse. I went through a brief phase where I thought, I don't think I like instrumentals as much as I do other tracks, and then I kind of grew out of that because I'm like a fucking idiot. But
yeah,
yeah. I'm glad you so quickly agreed to that disparaging statement.
You're still the football.
I'm still no matter what Star Trek series you guys are, I'll always be Harry Kim on Voyager. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta admit, I like Nucleus better than Day After Day.
Cool.
And the song Total Eclipse?
Not of the Heart.
No. This was like the next to last track on iRobot.
Ah, yes.
That reminded me so much of the music / ambient sound they were playing during the Stargate sequence of 2001.
Ooh.
When
It was probably based on that.
eh,
Ish, maybe.
well, you remember the sequence, right, where Bowman goes through into the monolith and ends up as an old man in a hotel room somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, the ending, basically.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final track I thought was really really good. So that's Genesis chapter 1 verse 32.
Sweet. Yeah, that's as prog rock seems to have a tendency towards the biblical. I mean, we have the fucking band named after the Book of Genesis, so I did
This is
consider
true.
it one of those albums for you, I think, but I got the impression you'd listened to most of the ones worth listening to by now, so I refrained from it.
Indeed, I have. Genesis
Awesome.
is some good stuff.
Very good stuff, yes. But it has been a little bit of a while since I've listened to this one, so I'm a little fuzzy on the details. But I did check with a compatriot. My friend Weasel by now, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's also a big APP fan, and I just consulted him as to what he thought would be like the best starter album for Parsons, and is like I was caught between this one, which I thought was like their most musically diverse. Either this, the Turn of a Friendly Card, which I think is their most overall consistent, or of course Eye in the Sky, which was their big commercial hit.
Yeah.
Definitely track down those two if you really liked this one. I will say that.
Interestingly, I'd actually spoken to a fellow colleague of ours quite some time ago. Surely you remember Earl?
Oh yeah, shit. I haven't talked to Earl in a bit. Just track him down.
Big Alan Parsons Project fan.
Awesome.
So he gave me a few good places to start. I just never went past those.
Okay, well, hey, I will say, I certainly like some of their albums better than others. Like the three I mentioned, plus their first album. It's a bit of a long title. I think it was Tales of Mystery and Imagination. Yeah, that is the one. That one's excellent. Oops, fuck. Okay, what? So I misclicked something. Pyramid is a bit more of a lower key album for them, but I really like that one a lot. And while it's a little bit more of an acquired taste, Ammonia Avenue is also not a bad follow-up to Eye in the Sky. Eve, their fourth album, Eve, I'm a little bit dicey on because lyrically it's a little bit weird. Some would say it's maybe slightly sexist by modern standards. They're trying to do some sort of commentary on that field, but I think it got a little bit scrambled, so that one's not my favorite. And the albums they've done after Ammonia Avenue are unfortunately a little bit of a drop-off. Vulture Culture, Stereotomy, and Gaudi, but even they still have a few really good cuts. I honestly really like the title track of Stereotomy, which has an amazing music video by Zbigniew Rybczynski, or however you pronounce that. I think he did a video for Rush, too. And Standing on Higher Ground off of Gaudi, that one's a fucking banger if nothing else, but yeah, I would say go for either Friendly Card or Eye in the Sky next after this. Maybe Tales of Mystery and Imagination. You can't go wrong with any of those three.
Works for me.
Sharon, you had Gaudi on cassette? Pretty nice. Yeah, like I said, if not, it was a late album for them. This was getting into the early 80s at this point. It's like the Alan Parsons, not early 80s, late 80s. Gaudi was 1987. Prog rock was not very prominent in the 80s, so after Eye in the Sky, I think they got a little quiet. Oh, Stereotomy! We Can Make It Together! Yeah, again, if I can track that video down, if nothing else. In fact, fuck, I'll post it. My brother really likes it as well. But, yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of... I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself here. I'll shut up.
Let me say this. Considering prog rock, I'm surprised you didn't actually recommend it listening to King Crimson.
If we do this again, I definitely have the perfect King Crimson album for you to recommend. I would say they've kind of dabbled in and out of my top 50, Because I think when King Crimson's good, they're great, but they can also be pretty inaccessible and kind of too complicated even for me, a prog rock nerd. So
Wow.
I can be kind of up and down on them. They're sort of a bit of a wild card. Even some of their more revered albums kind of don't stick out excellently in my mind. But I will say, absolutely say, remind me to recommend you Discipline, which is easily their most accessible album and my favorite by them. 1981, I think that was. And hey there, Eugene, welcome.
How you doing, Eugene? Mike.
I'm glad that you found something good in Castlevania Judgment last night. I'm half tempted to play that one, almost. Yeah, I did, Kate. I ain't Mexican. It is what it is. But, yes. I've babbled enough. You have any further thoughts on iRobot?
I just thought it was a really, really solid album. Kind of, if I was to go by my numbering system, it'd be an easy 4 out of 5.
Fucking awesome. Very good. But you don't have to do that for the rest of the albums. I'm kind of afraid to ask.
Yeah. Am I singing tonight? Well, no.
I don't think I am either. I can maybe think of a few things as long as they don't violate copyright, but...
No.
I'll be the roundabout.
No. Copyright. Nope.
Okay. Just checking,
Hi, Brandon.
checking what I can and cannot do. And hey there, Brandon. How's it going?
You have just missed us talking about different albums we challenge each other to listen to.
Mm-hmm. But we are continuing to do that with whatever it is that Dyer wanted me to listen to next. I guess we've done 2 each to now. So
Yep, so go for it. Take it away. Which one did I ask you to listen to next?
all right. Actually, there's a little bit of a time jump. Like, you gave me 2 albums that were from 1993, but then we entirely skip over the 2000s, a veritable culture vacuum of media. Hey, Sarb, if you're there, can you affirm that the 2000s was a culture vacuum for all media ever? Video games, movies, probably music as well. Well, we'll see. So it's kind of like a partial in-joke and yet a half-truth that we kind of have between each other.
Hey, that's a half-truth.
Yes, it was. No, there was some good music in the 2000s, don't get me wrong, but...
It's a decade of Godsmack.
Fucking Godsmack! Stay alone! Okay, that's all I'm doing.
Yes, knock it off with those potential copyright strikes.
That and my Sully Erna impression is mediocre at best.
But I thought Sully Erna was kind of mediocre at best. But
ooh, positive! I think you said positive. Okay, I was setting up for that one. It was kind of perfect. Never mind.
Exactly.
Oh shit! Hang on, I need a swig of water here. All right. Well, anyway, after that bizarre detour in the bullshitville, let us go then to the album. I think it was 2011, "Arrows and Anchors" by the band Fair to Midland.
Ah, yes. This band was recommended to me originally by my friend Jason. Knowing him since the Bob days.
Ah, yes. What does fair to Midland mean as a phrase, anyway? Is that like a Renaissance fair to a town named Midland or something?
It's actually a play on the term fair to Midland.
Middling. Oh. Huh,
and in all honesty, whenever I hear or see imagery that the band's done, it always makes you think of, like, the 19th century Middle America, like, the Great Plains, that kind of thing.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, like the sort of Victorian era, maybe, kind of ish.
A little bit before that, actually. I think more of like the frontier opening up.
Ah,
and it's like with song titles like, the Amarillo Sleeps on My Pillow, kind of a Western thing going on.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good point.
Or Copper Tank Island, that's a good one.
That is actually the one that you sort of led off with me to listen to first from this album, and it is, well, it's a banger. I want to overuse that phrase, but there's lots of things I could say that about. Another pretty goddamn good album, I gotta say. How do I describe their overall sound? Like,
Good. Really, really good.
I mean, good, yes, but like, I mean, the frontman has a pretty awesome name, Darrow Suderth, if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know why I haven't heard from him before, but I said that, like, you know, he has a mostly angelic voice, but he's also capable of growling it out at some points too, and I thought that was a little bit reminiscent of Burton C. Bell,
Yeah,
somewhat.
a little bit.
So, yes, Mike and I do like to be down on it. That is true. But, yeah, so some good tracks I heard. I thought that, like, a couple tracks reminded me a little bit of, kind of sort of 90s Dream Theater. I don't know if that's a decent comparison. Maybe. It's kind of hard to peg their sound, except not exactly prog, not exactly alt. Kind of closer to heavy metal, but yeah, like you said, whatever it is, it's actually, you know what? Let me look up like the sort of definition of what that would be considered. Alternative metal and also maybe progressive rock. Okay, you know, I can go with that. Alternative metal, yes, that's a good way of putting it, which I believe Fear Factory has also been called at times, correct?
Industrial metal, actually.
Industrial. Okay, yeah.
Now, regarding what you were saying about his voice, just listen to the opening of Musical Chairs.
Yeah, he's like, it's just starting to, like, you think it's going to be like an almost Slipknot-esque, like, 2000s, like, angsty emo sort of number, but he quickly straightens up, and like I said, like, oh wow, Darrow's voice is borderline angelic here. It's Musical Chairs actually didn't even have a music video. I suppose it was a leading single off of that, and that is, I think, one of my favorite tracks from this album as well. Like some other ones I liked, Short Hair Tornado, I thought had a good surging up and down volume and a pretty interesting tone control to it. I noted for the song Ricky Tikki Tavi, this is way different from the song that Donovan did, but it's probably one of my favorites on there. It reminded me a little bit of Sepultura of all bands, if you can believe it.
A little bit, actually, yeah.
Just a bit, but yeah, very interesting. Whatever the case, and oh yeah, Golden Parachutes. I said I like the uplifting chorus background music, despite the lyrics appropriately talking about assholes in suits, as the title would indicate. There's some really, it's like just really good sort of cornucopia of instruments and. Like, I don't know why they weren't more mainstream of the time, but, like, they only had, like, 2 commercial albums, and then they called it quits for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
There's looking through the track listing on that album, there's some of the other ones that make me think of that particular era of American history. Stuff like Typhoid Mary Sends Her Best, or The Upset at Bailey Bridge.
Was that from Arrows and Anchors, or was that from their other album?
That's from Arrows and Anchors.
Oh, wait, was it? Hang on.
Bailey Bridge comes right before Ricky Tikki Tavi.
Oh, Typhoid Mary, that was one of the short tracks. I forgot to note it down.
Yeah.
My bad. But,
it's an instrumental.
But yeah. They do have, like, a sort of, like, yeah, they do have a little bit more of a historical bent to their music. The exact era is a little bit nebulous, but yeah, like you said, 19th century, but before, when everyone still rode on horses is the best way I can put it.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, one way, certainly a weird way, and I'm weird, but it is what it is.
And kind of like how they open and close the album, too.
Yeah. Heavens to Murgatroyd is like the intro track, and it has this really neat organ coming in. But then, like, the final track is this borderline prog epic known as The Greener Grass, which is quite good, and it kind of fades out at like the 8:30 mark, and then it also ends on an almost sort of churchy sound that also brings in an organ to it, and yeah, overall,
This is a
it's good
rat
shit.
race, and maybe it's time you stop. But
Exactly.
I would also highly recommend their other mainstream album.
I did actually listen to that before getting on Hours and Anchors, and I did like that one too. In some ways, I might even have liked it a little bit more than this one, but I'd have to listen to the two side by side to see which one is. Well, why can't they both be the best one?
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, it's got one of the better album titles. Kind of harkens back to some of the stuff from the '90s. Fables
Oh
from
yeah,
Mayfly. What I tell you 3 times is true. It's like that would fit right in with titles like Transnational Speedway League, Anthems, Anecdotes, and Undeniable Truths.
oh yeah, they were really big into really fucking lengthy titles in the '90s or whatever. Like that fucking one by Fiona Apple, When the Pawn, etc. If you remember that one.
Yeah, I also remember this one. Astro Creep 2000, songs of love, destruction, and other synthetic
Destruction and
delusions of the electric head.
yeah, I appreciated that just being a side title instead of like, Rob Zombie's like full album titles just being long-winded nonsense.
Oh, the next one was, Hellbilly Deluxe, 13 Tales of Cadavers cavorting inside the Spook Show International.
Oh, so he did always have a knack for that. Well, fair then.
Well, then the album he did after that was just called The Sinister Urge.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that too.
And then there was Educated Horses, but best not to go there.
That was when he fell off. I mean, the pajama jammy jams.
He fell off the horse, the educated horse.
Doesn't sound like the smartest horse if he's that violent, but I digress.
I don't know. Anyway, so anything else you have to say about Fair to Midland?
Check out more of them, but I guess I've checked out almost everything I can. Like, the only thing to do would be to track down the other two albums that they apparently released independently, but I don't know if those are on YouTube or whatever.
I haven't even heard those yet.
Well, anyway, solid band. I wish they got to shine a little more. Like I said, Darrow Suit Earth, in addition to being a badass name. Talented bastard, it'd be a shame if he didn't do much nowadays, so,
Well, that's kind of like
good stuff.
Caroline Spine. Whatever happened to them?
I have heard that name, and I have no fucking idea who they were. I forget.
Well, they were another mid-'90s alternative band. In fact, I think you still have their Attention Please album around here somewhere.
Oh, cool.
But they did, let me see. We'll show more albums. Okay. Yeah, Attention Please came out in 99. And what is the one? I think it was the album Monsoon from 97. Yes. This one actually had a song on it, which is probably the most well-known song they ever did. It was called Sullivan. And it's actually a song about the Sullivan brothers. Who, have you ever heard of them?
I'm not sure if I have.
They were 5 brothers who would end up all getting killed in World War II.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. And as I understand it, that's why they don't basically put like an entire family on one ship anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it was also their story was also the inspiration for Saving Private Ryan, if I remember correctly.
Oh. Okay. That makes sense.
But Sullivan, excellent song.
So, well, that's another one I gotta look up then. By who now? Again, I forget.
Caroline's Spine.
Gotcha. Caroline's Caro Spine. Alrighty then. Alrighty.
Whatever happened to Animal Bag? Sharon asks.
Oh, well, you would know more about them than I would.
I'm pretty sure at least 2 of their members have passed on.
Bogus.
I know their guitarist did. I think their vocalist has too.
Yeah, that sucks.
They had basically two in it. Actually, not even that much. They had one album that was released. It was just self-titled Animal Bag, followed by an EP, which I don't remember the name of. And then they had a second album, which was ready to go, and their contract was dropped or something. And the album never officially got released. But there was, I remember, a website dedicated to Animal Bag that did release the album, I guess with permission from the band.
Oh, wow.
Nice. I've heard it. It's good. But they had about, a minute and a half of fame, so sad. They were pretty good, too. They were kind of like, definitely alternative. I mean, they showed up right when the whole grunge thing was taken off. And, but they had also kind of a, I hate to use the word hippie, but they kind of had that part, that the whole thing going on in a way.
So, not like there were a bunch of Herberts or anything, were they?
No, they definitely were not.
Okay, cool.
Mental note. Next time Mike brings up Herbert, correct him harshly.
No go. I'll shut up forever.
Oh, yes, you will.
In fact, almost forgot I had that, so there's that.
Yeah, you're getting this next time you reference that.
Yeah, I would deserve it. I can't wait for an inevitable Star Trek stream, or at least one of them. I'm sure we might have more than one, because there's a lot of Trek to go over, but I digress.
God knows there is. Anyways, that kind of gets me to the next album you had recommended for me.
Yes.
And that would be... Now, some of you might look at me and go, how would you not know this? Oh, really? Hang on a second here. Maybe we can get you to sit in on that one, Eugene.
You know what? That would be awesome. That would be very awesome.
Mm-hmm. You remember the stuff that K-Rad did over on what used to be Tor.com?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know who was doing that first?
Yeah, Eugene was. Exactly. That was his inspiration, even.
Mm-hmm. That's how I found out about him in the first place.
Awesome.
So, yeah, if you're interested, Eugene, we'll talk.
Totally.
And welcome back, Jay.
Hey, what up?
All right. So, yeah, I figure most of you would look at me and get you not familiar with this, but you got to understand. Okay, I'm going to talk about a Black Sabbath album. I like Black Sabbath. Problem is, I'm mainly only familiar with the Ozzy era. It looks like a thumbs up over on this side. So, cool. We'll talk.
Totally.
I am not overly familiar with the Dio era of Black Sabbath. So, Mike picked the album Heaven and Hell.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Yeah, like I didn't expect that, Sharon.
Totally fair. Not it is not for everybody.
Mm-hmm. This was good stuff. Reminded me a little bit too much of Dio's solo work, like Holy Diver, but that is not a bad thing.
Oh, it's not.
I agree. Not the slightest. That first track, Neon Nights, I mean, that just comes right out and kicks you right in the face.
It really does, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's just like, how the fuck better can you start an album like that anyway?
Yeah. Now, the next track after that, it was Children of the Sea.
Uh-huh.
Max Sabbath I've heard of. I think I've actually heard them.
That I'm not sure I know.
Okay, imagine Black Sabbath meets McDonald's.
I was going to say, does this have anything to do with Mac Tonight? And it looks like it sounds like it does.
But Children of the Sea actually reminded me a little bit of Led Zeppelin in a few parts.
That cool.
And then when it wasn't reminding me of Zepp, it was reminding me of Holy Diver.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And I found Lady Evil to be not exactly skippable, but just not really one of my favorites.
That's
But
fair.
it's like the next three songs after that were just like scorcher after scorcher. And it's like, okay, this is good stuff.
Yeah, the title track is too fucking good.
Heaven and Hell? Oh, yeah.
You better believe it.
That is a great song.
Fucking A.
And Walk Away was good. And the closing track there, Lonely is the Word. No, it was, great closing song. Just the
Awesome.
kind of thing you want for a closer.
Good bingus.
That album's a lot shorter than I expected it to be, though.
Is that a good thing?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I was expecting at least almost, an hour runtime. It ended up being like 40 minutes.
Huh.
Didn't
Well,
give
that's
me
interesting that... Would you say it left you wanting a bit more?
Yes, I would.
Wow. Interesting. That's cool. Well, in that case, obviously you got to listen to the Mob Rules at some point then.
I've listened to a couple songs off of that.
Well, I know you're familiar with the title track because that was in heavy metal.
Oh,
so.
well, yeah. But now, Dio was still with Ozzy with Ozzy. Dio was still with Black Sabbath when they did Dehumanizer, right? Or was that somebody else?
Which actually, no, you are technically correct. It's more accurate to say they brought Dio back for that album because after the Mob Rules, for whatever reason, they kind of after Mob Rules was kind of a very tumultuous period for Black Sabbath, where I think right after that one. After Mob Rules was the infamous album Born Again with the Devil Baby on it, which had fucking Ian Gillan from Deep Purple as the vocalist, which nothing against him, I just don't think he was the best fit for it.
Gotcha. Also, hey, Eris, welcome in.
Oh, hey, Eris, how's it going? I will say, even for the most part, Sabbath's weaker albums, I don't think are total wastes. But they're for weak links, as far as those are concerned, there's like nothing as terribly irascible they've done as like the final cut by Roger Waters, backed with Pink Floyd, or what's another? Oh, Saint Anger. I don't think Sabbath has ever had an album that reached as low as Saint Anger. Forbidden might come close. That's sort of thought of as like the one that kind of killed the band, but I would rather listen to Forbidden than I would listen to Saint Anger. But after Mob Rules and Born Again, which was kind of a one and done, and Seventh Star, which was supposed to be a Tony Iommi solo album, but was marketed as a Black Sabbath album because Shrug record executives.
Yeah.
They found a more semi-permanent vocalist in Tony Martin. And I feel sorry for Tony Martin because he's forever going to go down in history as the guy who was not Ozzy or Dio. But I think actually there's quite a good bit of good stuff over the Martin years. So that was when we got the Eternal Idol, Headless Cross, and Tear. And yet for some reason they somehow I don't really know what the story about it is, and I'm not going to jump into a huge super history of the band, but for some reason they managed to get Dio back for Dehumanizer, which was, I believe, in the early 90s, and that is a very underrated album, and was actually one that I listened before I got to Heaven and Hell, so I do recommend that, yes. And Sharon, I am quite a big fan of Iron Maiden, I must say.
2 minutes to midnight.
I mean, that song's fucking immortal. Power Slave, I might want to say, might be their best overall album, but I do really like Seventh Son of the Seventh Son as well, and I like when I know a Blue Oyster Cult. I think I need to listen more beyond Agents of Fortune, but that and their album, the first three albums before that, Secret Treaties is a fucking amazing album. So
hey, what about that Iron Maiden song 665, The Neighbor of the Beast?
No, Rob, that was not then. That almost sounds like was that like an actual parody that existed? I could believe it.
I don't think it was. It might have been, but it's like 665, the neighbor of the beast. Really pissed off at all the hell that's been unleashed. Some of us need to work in the morning.
You lost me.
Well, think about it. Neighbor of the beast, all the craziness that's going on next door.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But you said the vocalist between Dios would have been Tommy Martin, you said his name was?
Tony Martin, yes.
Tony Martin. At least he's not going to go down like Gary Sharon was with Van Halen.
Oh no, he's he's not going to be as poorly received as Gary Sharon was, and I think he also maybe, since we mentioned Maiden, I think he's generally better respected than Blaze Bayley was with his tenure with Maiden. Although Blaze Bayley did go on to be a rather good, well-respected vocalist in his own right. It's just that the X Factor and especially Virtual XI were not well received. But we're not talking about Iron Maiden here, so.
And Sharon, we covered Godzilla last week.
We did, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I forgot that we did.
All right.
Good for us.
Yeah. Now, next album I had you do was... You have the list, you tell me.
I know. I know, I'm just... that would be a band that you got into more recently by the name of The Birthday Massacre. You gave to me Walking with Strangers.
Yeah, we can thank our friend Sam for that.
Yes, that we can. Which I believe is one that I have heard before, but it didn't really sink in. So I wanted, back then anyway, so I wanted to give it a more earnest listen. And this is a very endearing thing that I want to say about Walking with Strangers. It sounds like the soundtrack to something like what will I say? I want to say like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but without the Joss Whedon part, because I don't like that guy. It sounds like the soundtrack to some sort of like dark teen fantasy movie, but like not in a bad way.
Interesting.
Hang on. There's this one horror movie I saw recently by the name of I don't know if anyone else has seen it. Without Joss, I definitely would not mind that so much. But let's forget I brought that guy up. God, I hate Cabin in the Woods. But yes. Okay. So I don't know if any of you have heard of this movie, I Saw the TV Glow. It was released just last year, and while I did not think last year was an excellent year for cinema that I particularly dug, I did see that one, and I did enjoy it a lot. The Birthday Massacre almost feels like they could have made like an entire soundtrack based on that movie. Yeah, I think you will like it, Eugene. I will warn you, it's undeniably a slow burn, but I like how it paid off. So it's kind of the best movie by default, either that or Dune Part 2, but which I did also like, except that more people seem to be down on that nowadays for some. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, some episodes of The Birthday Massacre, and yeah, they are good. Like, what would we say their genre qualifies as, if I had to say anything?
Kind of electronic rock in a way.
Yeah, electronic, like, not like full-on gothic, but kind of like one step down from that.
Hey, hold that thought for a second.
Yes.
Sharon, Kate was riffing on the whole thing that I was doing with Mike about 665, the neighbor of the beast. Instead of seventh son of the seventh son, it's sixth son of the sixth son. It's a joke, in other words.
Oh, I get it. I get jokes. I'm sorry. It's just, that's our Simpsons quota fulfilled for now, I guess. Dream pop. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. This album had a very dreamy sound to it. It's like a movie set in a dream where the sky is like perpetually purple, like the album cover. They really like the color purple. I've noticed it's a good color. Um, but yeah, I said like the intro track, "Kill the Lights," feels like the opening of a dream, uplifting yet a bit melancholy. Several tracks I said were ethereal, some of them danceable. I thought "Unfamiliar" was a bit angsty, but not in a bad way. It was like the sort of track that would play for the protagonist of our dream movie having some sort of soliloquy. And it's like the first four tracks are almost borderline gentle, and then Red Stars just comes in and breaks a bottle right in your fucking face in a good way. It actually reminded me a bit of the most famous track from the game, Doom Eternal. The only thing they fear is you. Like the bass crunch is very similar to that. At least that was from the impression I got out of it. But it was a real good swerve, but it made me like it all the more. I'd say Red Star is one of my favorites off this album, and then that led right into what I think was like the lead single from this album, "Looking Glass." At least, I want to say that was one of the first songs by them I heard of, and
yeah, that's the one Sam linked originally.
It's still really fucking good. It's like I said, this feels like the track from the album that absolutely would have gotten a music video if there was one for it to get, and I had my head nodding very consistently throughout it. And
also, yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up real quick regarding the cover.
Yeah.
Since I now have context to go with it, it looks like Invasion of the Louises.
Yeah, the rabbits, the rabbit girls.
Bob's Burger reference there.
It's a cute way of putting it. Bob's Burger is an excellent show. Go watch it. It's still holding up pretty well, even if it's like in the mid-teens right now.
Oh God.
At least I think it is. Dyer's farther along than I am, but yeah.
Anyway, you were on Looking Glass before.
Yes, and just the latter half is also really solid. Like, To Die For felt like it had this sort of nostalgic, I said, this is when we were kids, hazy synthwave feel to it. I have an interesting way of describing this shit. Mm-hmm. It's like some of it is mournful, some of it, like the title track, I said, it felt like there's like a young girl that was about to escape from a shitty situation. She's just gonna like drive off into the desert. Or like, I don't know, this had a lot of different emotions running around to it, and it's like, geez, why haven't I listened to these guys more? This is some good shit overall. I mean, if there's a logical next album point to recommend, what would you say I should go for?
I would say you want to go with Pins and Needles.
That's one right after this. Okay, and it's also a very purple cover. Cool.
You'll see most of their album covers do have shades of purple in them.
Yeah, like it's they have their style so extremely down pat that I am almost envious at how consistent they have all of this.
It was their style at the time.
It still is, and fuck, if it's been doing good for them, then I cannot argue. Yeah, I really gotta listen to these guys more. Give them a run through, have their album sinking. They could make my top 50 yet, but I did really enjoy Walking with Strangers a lot. Like I said, I listened to it before, but this time it really stood out to me, and good recommendation.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely listen to Pins and Needles next.
You better believe it.
Which... ever since Sam recommended them and I checked them out, I've been pretty well hooked. So
awesome, deservedly so.
Mm-hmm. But I guess it's time to go to my next one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You're not the Wu-Tang Clan. You're not even the Tribe Called Quest, asshole.
Well, you'll have to remind me who that was from too.
Dennis Leary.
That does sound like him, yes. Mm-hmm. It was fond of the A-word.
Yeah. This is an album I had actually heard back in the early 90s when it originally was released, thanks to Bromley.
Oh, neat.
He was very much into the whole hip-hop scene at the time.
Sweet.
I, however, never have been. So the question is, did this album change my mind now that I've heard it again for so many times, or for the first time in so many years? That would be A Tribe Called Quest's album, The Low End Theory. And to be
It's
complete, you know,
I was going to say it's arguable whether or not this or Midnight Marauders is their more celebrated one, but I wanted to say that this is the one of theirs that stood out the most to me. So yeah,
I have to say it did nothing for me then, and it did nothing for me now.
wah, 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 wah.
It's not a genre I've ever been into. While I can certainly respect their skills, it just I can't give any kind of positives from a personal perspective because it just didn't click with me at all. I know they're a very respected group, and they really established a lot back then. But again, this is something that is for those who like it. I'm just not one of them. You have something you wanted to add, Mike?
The thing of it is, I'll be honest, I'm not really that heavily into rap and hip hop myself. There are a few exceptions. This album being one of them, and if I had to say that there is a hip hop group that I like the most, then Tribe would probably be it. But end of the day, I'm still not a huge rapper hip hop guy, and I hate to play this card, but I am very painfully white, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. And so are you, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't mean to sound accusatory, I'm just laying things out as I see them.
However, Bromley is also very much white. and
he was really big into it, so
really
yeah, that's a good point.
That's
a good point.
I will say I do remember the song Scenario.
That it was their biggest hit off of it, and it had an awesome music video to go with it. Really hilarious one where they were like editing a track. They're like editing a music video with like an actual computer program, and it was really fun.
Well, as long as they weren't using Make My Video on the Sega CD, then we're good.
Now, whatever this program was, it seemed a lot more sophisticated than it. Yes.
But
yeah,
it is what it is. For those who like it, I say that's great. You're welcome to it. And again, I do respect them for what they accomplished. And they're it's a word I'm looking for here. They're standing in the formation of hip hop, like how influential they were.
Yeah, they're very formative for the genre at the time, to be sure.
Mm-hmm. So.
But yeah, it's like it's weird because, like I said, I'm not normally into hip hop, but like I did at least like this album, and I was wondering if getting to expand your horizons might have also worked out as such similarly. And swing and a miss, lesson learned. I'm probably not going to give you another hip hop album if we do another thing like this, but it's okay. It's I'm not offended, mind. It's just that I'm honestly thinking for my case, like, what was I thinking getting you to listen to this? It almost feels like I should have known better at this point.
I'm old and inflexible. What can I say?
Yeah, to the point of being predictable for better or worse. What's that?
My predictability has been quoted on numerous occasions. If it tells you anything, a 2-year-old was able to figure that out at some point.
It is an endearing part of you, I will say. Mm-hmm. So,
being a virtual caveman rules.
Yep. And would you say that you're kind of a musical caveman in some respects too?
If all I listen to is like stuff I listened to back in high school, and maybe the few years after that, then I would say yes. But there's a lot of newer stuff that does grab me.
It's funny because I feel like I'm kind of a harder sell to get into modern music than you are, and yet I'm still playing more modern video games, which you basically gave up on around the turn of the millennium for the most part.
Pretty
So I
much.
don't know how the hell that works. I'm a bigger crankshaft of music than you are, it seems.
It's just one of those things.
We're built different. I'm not a clone of you like I theorized I was once, so
Yep.
it is what it is.
It also helps too that I have kids who are now in their early 20s and listen to a lot of interesting things they want me to hear. Some that I
That is
like.
a very good point. That is a very good point. That's how you got into Dua Lipa. So
Exactly. Thank my
who
my middle one for that.
I will. She's actually cool.
All right.
Like, it's just something weird I spouted out when I was in my. I'm this bizarro teen kid who finds this guy cool, and I'm going to troll his guest book a lot until he tells me to shut up and come to his board instead.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Eventually,
those were the
I termed him
days.
my protege.
Yeah, that's
Also told him stop calling me Robbie.
yeah. I'm not going to poke the bear in that one ever again. Don't worry.
And Sharon, you misunderstand the term music caveman. That doesn't mean I grew up with all sorts of music. It would mean I'm stuck in one particular era and I can't move out of it. I'm, kind of inflexible in that regard. But as you know, I'm not inflexible.
Yeah, you're more progressive with music than I am, which somehow I didn't expect. But
Neither
what do
did
you
I.
know? It is what it is.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't expect it either.
Yeah. Except I will say though that I did like all the albums you gave me this time, whereas you were not as shiny on all of them. So like that's just how that worked out.
And we haven't even
Oddly.
gotten to my last album that you gave me yet.
No, we haven't. But I guess I need to get to my last album first then.
Yes. Yes, you do.
That I do. What was there anything else you want to say about Tribe? I assume not. I just wanted to check to make sure.
Yeah, I've really had nothing else to say. I think I've said my piece probably more than once.
So you have, and so you did.
So, Rich, you get to be the musical caveman then.
Oh, is has Richard found a hard line that he doesn't go past as far as music goes?
Well, you'll have to ask him that, but I will definitely credit Rich for this. Were it not for him, I don't think I would have had the exposure to Rush that I did.
Dude, you have influenced him, and he has influenced me. So thank you very much for that.
Hmm.
Oh
So,
man, I wonder if we could have a stream where we just entirely discuss Rush, or if that would like I don't know, could we do it?
oh, I'm sure we could.
Will we do it?
Yeah, the only rap I really listen to is what little bit that I, grew up with. So, beyond that, no.
Alas.
Is what it is.
No modern country. I agree. It's not even country. It's racism music. But let's not get into that.
There's a beer in my
Let's
beer and a Chevy in my truck.
there was an actual song called She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, and I think listening to it did fucking psychological damage to me. Long term.
I was just thinking of the one that there I ruined it put together.
There
so, so
I
yeah.
don't know what that is. You lost me. Sorry.
Oh, it's this YouTube channel where they basically ruin stuff.
Well, that's cool.
And he put one together. It's like, oops, I almost won a CMA award. People in the comments were like, I could slip this in at the next family barbecue, and I guarantee no one would know the difference.
Okay, that's kind of fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to link that at some point. But yeah, I if I'm going to listen to country at all, it's going to be older country.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fucking Garth Brooks is pushing it. I need to catch
I
up
was
on,
never
like,
into him.
that's completely fair. I probably wouldn't get into him either. I think Beavis and Butthead didn't like him either. So, and what's with the whole fucking Chris Gaines bullshit anyway?
I'm still lost on that one, so
I mean, Strong Bad gave him a pretty good bust, so I'll go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Chris Gaines, yes, Sarv, exactly. It's fucking it. What was up with that bullshit? I swear. And hey, Eris, thank you for stopping in. Hope this was an interesting convo that we have had, and hope you'll come back next week, or if not next week, whenever we do this next.
Yeah, have a good one, Eris.
Anyway, we digressed heavily. We still gotta talk about our last albums each.
Yes, and this one in particular was originally the band was recommended to me by another colleague of ours who you haven't heard from in some time, but was very instrumental in getting you into Dream Theater.
Oh yeah, the other Chris.
Yes,
that's a terrible way of putting him, but yes,
he's the one who told me about them originally. And
awesome.
He and I have similar tastes when it comes to a lot of things, and history is one of them. Yes. Military history is another. And he also mentioned the fact that his wife actually really likes these guys.
That is fucking awesome.
That really surprised me. But go ahead.
That would be the... Oh, fuck, hang on. I want to make sure it's right. ... I want to make sure I get there. Is it Swedish? Okay, I was right the first time. Okay. That would be the Swedish metal band Sabaton, a.k.a. the most badass history lesson in history ever. For
Pretty
history.
much.
I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Sabaton, but they have made many of these crazy and very surprisingly informative metal songs about various eras, mostly of wars over the years. And their most recent album, as it turns out, and this is the one that Rob recommended, assigned to me rather, is The War to End All Wars, which is about World War One. It is one, right? Not two?
Yes, one.
Just want to make sure that I'm not a total dumbass.
It's actually a companion piece to the album that put out right before that, The Great War.
Oh, shit. Well, I gotta track that one down at some point then.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. There's one caveat that I will give with Sabaton. If you listen to all their albums at once, it might possibly blend together, so take them in measured doses. But if you take one album a day, they're fucking awesome. I really fucking like this album. This was some great goddamn shit. And,
you're working more blue than ever now.
That just means I'm happy, somehow. It's contradictory.
Nothing wrong with that.
Weird fucking psychology works, but... And, of course, I'm obviously not going to linger on this, but with times being the way they are, ... this felt inspiring in a way. In a certain way, which that's all I'll say, if that makes sense.
I prefer to focus on the history aspect of the whole thing.
Yes, exactly.
I've actually... My father is a history buff when it comes to military history. I have actually told him about Sabaton. And
what's he think?
He would not like the music one bit. But
too hard for him, that's fair.
He doesn't like rock and metal. It's like the most closest thing to rock he likes is the Eagles.
Each their own.
Yeah, but I was telling him about the
I
subject.
hate the fucking Eagles, man. I'm sorry. I'll shut up now.
I was telling him about the subject matter of Sabaton's work, and he was genuinely interested.
Awesome.
So, if you want to go ahead and go from here.
Yeah, I said that, the opening track, Sarajevo, just takes you by the eyeballs and probably the other balls as well. I said a very grim but awesome recounting of, and this is the way I put it, Gavrilo Princip's teensy little vigilante action that fucking blew everything up. That was a very inspired way of putting it, but it really establishes a huge sense of gravitas right out the gate that the album never lets go of. The track Stormtroopers, which little bit of a loaded name, but it's a very kick-ass track that really made the subject in question sound like a nigh unstoppable force. It actually sounded like something, and this is a positive thing. I take it you're not too familiar with the Guilty Gear fighting series.
Not overly, no.
Guilty Gear is a very metal-driven series, and its soundtrack is like its creator, like Daisuke Ishiwatari, is an actual metal musician, if I'm not mistaken, or he's at least very much into it. And Stormtroopers felt like something I absolutely would have heard in a Guilty Gear game, and that is a good thing. And like I said, like Dreadnought feels like an ancient beast rising out of the water to unleash Armageddon. It's got a very weighty feel to it. The Unkillable Soldier, that one I liked a lot. It flies out the gate with huge forward charging energy, incredibly valiant and borderline heroic sounding. Like, if I was about to kick ass, this is what I'd play for myself. And there's also Soldier of Heaven, a personal narrative of someone duty bound forever, keep their post and is proud of it. Badass like the last track, but in a more solemn and reserved way. It's like, I felt like the notes I took were especially poignant with this one.
Okay, it helps notes on this one.
I really did, yes. I mean, it helped that I was actually watching lyric videos with this as well, because, what can I say? The subject matters as much as the music itself, so there's a lot to follow along with. I also really liked Lady of the Dark. I said I dig any power song that talks about a badass woman, which apparently it was a real soldier too. Fuck, I forget her name.
It was
Miloka Savic,
yes.
Female Serbian soldier who is the most decorated female combatant in the history of warfare. Wow, we have gotten much softer and much more exclusionist since then. What the fuck? Jesus.
But yeah, everything they talk about it actually happened. So
exactly, yeah. No, they're fucking history metal, and that's why they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to say, but between Walking with Strangers and War to End All Wars, I would say one of those is my favorite that you've recommended. But I don't know which one I like better. But they are both going for very different things. I thought in particular the last two tracks really brought a real establishing finality to this almost. It's like Christmas Truce, a very different tack from the rest of the album. It starts out soft and maintains a mournful and reminiscent tone, but has an uplifting, grateful chorus. It's like we've gotten to this point. It's almost over. Let us remember the ones who we lost and whatnot. It's it made me a little verklempt, if people still use that word nowadays. And so did the last track, Versailles. It sounds very triumphant, like the ending to a big blockbuster movie, although the narrator mentions a sequel hook, and, as we know, there would unfortunately be a sequel about 19 years later. I'm doing my math terribly there, I'm sure.
We started numbering them.
We did, didn't we?
I believe
we have to never number another one.
And yes, Sharon, I believe it was the Red Baron.
Yes. I did see the Red Baron one, but I forget which album that was off of.
I think that was on the Great War. I will say, though, that my favorite song on War to End All Wars is The Valley of Death.
That one is also great. I said another very heroic sounding track. We'll fight as many times as we need to until we die or they stop. It's been a long war, but we know where we stand, damn it. It's the perfect hold the line track, I would say. It's like,
yeah.
Oh man, these all have just great fucking energy to them, and like I said, I think I would start to have them run together if I'd listened to too much Sabaton at once. But for yesterday, when I listened to this was exactly what I needed at the time. It's some fucking great stuff, and yeah, I gotta look in. I mean, I think I did listen to most of their albums already at this point, but I need to give them another listen, have them sink in more, because I like this shit. It's very good.
Yeah, I've got a playlist I keep handy, which just has all my favorite songs by them on there.
Excellent. Yeah, the Red Baron was the Great War. I just looked it up. So,
and also the one about Lawrence of Arabia is on my playlist too.
Oh, I didn't know they did one for that.
Yeah, 7 Pillars of Wisdom, I think it is.
Good bingus.
But yes, Sabaton. As soon as I heard them after Chris had recommended them, I was just like, oh, this is good stuff. He started me off with the song Bismarck. which was one of
Very
their
good.
World War II era songs.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they
As
did
well.
they talked about historical battles that's going back centuries.
Mm-hmm. Like, would you say the American Revolution or some bullshit like that?
Further back, like
The
wars
Three
in Europe.
Kingdoms era.
Well, we're talking about. I don't know if they ever did anything about the Three Kingdoms, but they did cover some Swedish wars that happened.
Oh, nice.
So
Yes. Did they ever talk about Simho Haiha at any point?
that I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
So, but you look up their album Careless Rex, and you can see some of that stuff.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, Sabaton, excellent band. Now,
Totally.
that brings me to my final album, and admittedly, at this point, I crammed all 5 of these albums into 2 days because we kind of hit upon the idea of doing this around the middle of the week. So it's like we got 2.5 days to go ahead and do all this. So that's what we did. So unfortunately, I may not have given this one as much of a chance as I should have because it was the last one to listen to. But
you were starting to flag a bit.
Exactly. And
wow.
while it's still a decent album, it was something I think I would need to listen to when I'm coming at it fresh. But that would be the Local H album, Here Comes the Zoo.
Yeah, which is not their most famous album, but I kind of felt was the album that I started to click a lot with them. Not that their most famous album, As Good as Dead, or the follow-up to that, Pack Up the Cats, are in any way not as good. Now, I think they're great also, but I don't know, just something about Here Comes the Zoo really stood out to me when I listened to it.
Like,
I chose poorly in your case.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't dislike anything on there.
Awesome.
But my notes are very, very perfunctory.
That's actually how my notes for actually it's how my notes for Become What You Are turned out. I unfortunately did kind of I think that's what happened with me for that one to an extent. So
just give example, first song, Hands in the Bible. My note says good opening track.
bowling.
And then track 2, Half-Life, a solid rocker.
Yeah, that was actually one that I knew from back then, like played on like one of the like MTV2 or like one of the other channels they made when their main channel became shit. But yeah, that one was actually kind of a bit of a hit for them at the time, as I remember.
And then as I was going through, there was let's see, good stuff, also good stuff. I like this one, pretty good, also good, pretty darn good, decent, and nice closer. A bit long though.
Yeah, I really do like What Would You Have Me Do, but it does deliberately just keep on going and going. And it's like the vision I have for that one is that you're just going down an increasingly dark staircase as everything just gets darker and redder, and you're just going right the fuck down to despair. I really like the mood that casts, but I can understand if you were waiting for the album to be over and it was kind of getting a little long in the tooth. So.
At that point, I was just like, okay, end already.
Whoopsies! And then and then I guess this is kind of a piss take on Scott Lucas's part that he like ended it like a jillion times, and then it's just like 10 minutes of silence and then one more at the very end, and I find that oddly amusing and a little bit frightening, but it's a very strange way to end the album. But I do really like the song for As Long as It Goes On, and it's actually one of my favorites by theirs. And I think it's the longest track they've ever done, though. Like they don't they didn't go that epic ever again for probably for the better, but yeah.
Well, I'll say overall it was a decent album. I just need to come back and give it a fresh listen. Put some space between tonight and next time I listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, Local H is like my current favorite pick for secret best band that you've never heard of. Like, I've always known about them. Like, in the mainstream, they were most big for the track "Bound for the Floor," which you must have heard if you lived through the '90s. Like, and you just don't get it. You keep it copacetic, and I'm not going to say more because of copyright law.
That works, actually. That kind of qualifies as parody.
Exactly. Boom. Yes, that was my plan all along. I'm not trying to get a shut down. Okay, maybe I am. I don't know.
Play some Skinner, man.
Fuck off.
No, I was...
sort of... Wait, what?
Sharon, who likes Skinner?
Oh. Sharon, I did not tell you to fuck off. I didn't realize you typed that.
And I was just doing a Mike Judge bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit, what was that from Idiocracy or one of the Beavis and Buttheads or something?
Inbred Jed.
Oh, yeah, I remember those skits.
It's so darn good to be here. I'm going to play this song. I like it. It's just so good to be here, man. And they had that one guy out in the audience, and he's just like, play some Skinner, man. And they actually did repeat that on Beavis and Butthead once.
That does sound like something that would have made it to there. I can't say I'm a huge Skinner fan, but that's because everyone only ever seems to acknowledge that they've ever done 2 songs ever, and I am very tired of those 2 songs by now.
It's one of those Freebird?
That is one, yes. It's pretty easy to guess what the other one is, I think.
Mm-hmm. I can't ever listen to Freebird the same way after seeing The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I actually associate more with a King of the Hill episode, believe it or not. That was actually one where that was actually a pretty interesting one about Bill. And yes, Sharon, that is indeed the other one. I could definitely go the rest of my life never hearing that one again, especially because a certain someone who I'm not going to mention my name.
Let's not even think of him. Just go by the merits of the original song.
Blibbity blop.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I will say though, I just I don't know. I've always liked what I've heard Local H, but just somehow I just got into them on a whim, and I thought, holy shit, these guys are awesome. Why aren't more people talking about them? And then I found someone else on another community recently who's actually big in on them, and they actually let me know of a show that they were actually coming very close to where I live to, and I actually saw them live. First concert I saw live in 16 years, and I had a really fucking good time at it, too. And,
nice.
Scott Lucas is a veritable genius, and how he's able to play guitar, bass, and be the vocalist, and the whole operation's been a 2-man band since the mid-90s. Perpetually blows my fucking mind, but anyway, really hella underrated band. I would say, before you listen to Here Comes the Zoo Again, I would probably recommend their most mainstream, well-known album, As Good as Dead, when you get the chance, and also Pack Up the Pet Cats, which was between Dead and Zoo, let's say, and you can't go wrong with any of them. I would maybe say that their first album, Ham-Fisted and Hallelujah, I'm a Bum, are probably their weakest, so don't go for those until you've listened to all the others, but if I ever want to know more about the H, hit me up.
Also, Sharon, we didn't even really bring up Led Zeppelin.
I mean, I could say a few things about Zeppelin. Starland vocal band, they suck!
I'd rather talk about Red Bream and his band of Some Esteem.
What? You lost me.
Really? Red Bream and his band of Some Esteem?
If that's a reference, I'm not picking up on it.
It's a Simpsons bit. It was from the Lady Bouvier's Lover episode.
Oh, season 1. Oh, shit.
No.
Yeah,
that wasn't season 1. That was later. That was
season 5. I know. I was confusing it with the Jacques episode. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I'm getting a little out of sorts. I wasn't all that mentally there at first, and now it just seems like I'm deteriorating even further. So,
oh, oops. Monty, you are the devil himself. Who told you that?
Yes.
But yeah, it's funny. I actually have the the Bortfest concert lineup,
Oh, really now?
which lists most of the bands. Let me see here. See if I can find it. Okay. Should be right in this folder. Okay, maybe this folder. This one definitely. All right.
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, it's where area. Okay. Now, once the image itself loads up, Bortfest, presented by Bortfest.app. On Friday, opens with the B Sharps, and then Bleeding Gums Murphy featuring Lisa Simpson, Hooray for Everything, Funky C, Funky Do, and Red Bream and his band of some esteem.
Hey kids, take a walk on the wild side.
Exactly. And Saturday, July 14th, we'll open up with Sadgasm.
Oh, Jesus Christ, the fucking 90s show episode.
But also on stage, we've got Spinal Tap, Tito Puente, the London Symphony Orchestra, the Party Posse, the Rappin' Rabbis, and Larry White. And on Sunday, July 15th, Lurleen Lumpkin, followed by Kirk Van Houten, the Can I Borrow Feeling guy, Melvin and the Squirrels, Tequila Mockingbirds, and the Yahoo Recovering Alcoholic Jug Band. Brought to you by Bortify.
Sharon, I admit I occasionally confuse Zeppelin and Skinner in the past myself. So,
I didn't think that was possible.
Well, their names are okay, maybe not all that similar. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but I think I did do it at least once.
No stairway. Denied.
Exactly. The Stairway to Freeze. That song be like 13 million minutes long or whatever. I don't know.
The Stairway to Freebird.
Anyway, so...
Sweet Home Cashmere.
Anyway, we're kind of meandering. To play Order Muppet, should we just kind of like do a summary on this little experiment that has been conducted?
Yeah, I suppose we can. You want to go first?
I don't know.
All right, I'll go first. Out of the three albums Mike recommended,
Five.
Pretty much 5. Yes, I'm tired.
Yeah, me too. That's why I wanted you to go first.
Out of the 5 albums that Mike recommended, I liked at least 3 of them.
Yes, that is what you probably meant to say. That's fair.
Yes. The standouts were Alan Parsons' Project I, Robot.
Mm-hmm.
Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And to a slightly lesser degree, Local H, Here Comes the Zoo.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. So the rock albums were the one you liked the most, and the non-rock albums you did not like as much. Good to know.
Yep. Well, hey, I've got my thing, and I stick to it.
You've got your good thing, and I've got mine. Wherever that
was the time on Sprockets when we dance.
Yeah. Well, do I at least get kudos for attempting to introduce you to something different, even if it didn't take?
Yes.
Hooray! Kudos! I'll take it.
And kudos. Yes, you were asking for kudos. So let me give those to you right now.
That's cool. Can I get the clap too? The clap. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say you want. You're going to have to go ahead and get that one yourself. Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, Lossy.
Boy, did you walk into that one.
Have you ever seen that one? Like, it kind of became a meme. There's like this one 3-panel comic of like a guy riding a bicycle who then puts a stick into his bicycle wheel, and then the last panel is just him crunched over on the ground, just like curled up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell for almost any given situation. I'm my own punchline, and I guess no one would ever have it any other way. So yeah.
Yep. So that said, how about your takeaway from our little challenge here?
I liked all the albums that you assigned to me. My favorite is either Walking with Strangers or The War to End All Wars. My relative least favorite would maybe be Become What You Are, but I did still like it. I just thought, like I said, it was a little harder to pick out the tracks a bit from each other, but yeah, no, it's some really good stuff. I ended up liking Perverse more than I thought I would. I'm actually glad I gave that one a second listen because I liked it quite a bit more when I heard it in the morning today as opposed to the day prior. And Arrows and Anchors, also some good stuff for all too short-lived band that I wish I could find out more about, but I guess I can't really go for... I mean, there's not much else to find, but, you know, we'll see.
Eh,
And, what's that?
I was gonna say, keep in mind, I didn't hate the other albums. They just weren't my thing. There were still a couple of songs on each of them that I didn't mind listening to at all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that you did denote the Hall of Mirrors because that's actually my favorite cut from TEE, as it were. I do wonder if maybe the Man Machine, which is a little bit less experimental, a little bit more on, I would say a little bit more accessible, I should have gone with instead, but I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. And
I must get to Stuttgart in time to Kraftwerk.
we we will always have that at least.
Yes.
So and like I said, for Tribe, I'm not really much of a hip hop guy myself, and this is one of the very few albums I liked. But I figured if like I only like 1% of hip hop that ever existed, you'd only like 0.01%, if even that. So I'm not surprised that it didn't really land for you, but eh, you know, I'm still glad that I got to attempt to. Every time I say expand your horizons, I always fucking think of that bit from Clerks, and it always sounds perverted. So,
And you rented this? Hey, I like to expand my
yeah,
horizons.
exactly, fucking exactly. So that being said,
What are
if
you
we do
watching?
this,
Children's programming.
Jesus Christ. That being said, I really like this experiment, and I would be up for doing another round of this, perhaps in the near future. But next time when I pick my albums, I'm going to mostly stick to the rock spectrum for your convenience, I think.
Yeah, and I'll just keep looking into stuff that I have that you may not have heard.
Okay, sounds
So,
good. Would you be up for doing this again, by the way?
sure.
Cool.
Now,
Very cool.
regarding the next stream we do, chances are, especially, I don't know if Eugene's still here or not, but he expressed interest in sitting in on a Star Trek stream.
Oh, yes.
We've got a lot to cover, but let's put it to a vote. How many people who are still here want to actually see us tackle different subjects, and how many would like to see us go back to doing video game stuff?
Yeah, I would actually like to know. I mean, I'm always up to talk about games, but I'm not gonna lie, it has been pretty refreshing. Maybe half and half. Okay, okay, fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the next stream we should make is a game, and Jay also likes both. And all right, well, everyone agrees that half and half is good. So if you had, maybe we should do something more gaming next time. I don't know.
Maybe it'll depend.
Yeah, we'll see. I
Don't mind me, I'm
suppose.
kind of yawning too. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
different subjects. All right, Rich.
Alrighty. So, apparently, there are people like us no matter what we do. So that's cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see what other subjects we can tackle. I mean, even, going outside of things that require electricity, for example.
Huh. Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, books.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Those are things that exist that do not need power.
Yes, and let
Usually.
me remind you that I've written 4 of them recently.
And everyone should buy them if they haven't yet.
Yes, I agree.
Brandon, I'm going to have to veto that. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to have to give my quote here. There are 3 things I have learned never to discuss with people: religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin.
Oh shit, Kate's reading candy. Very nice.
Yes, the books. And once I start getting everything together, I will be starting work on the new round of books. But things haven't progressed so far this year the way I wanted them to, so I haven't actually started any serious work on the next books.
Yeah, I gotcha. Also, yeah, I was going to say, since Brandon, there we go. Nice.
But yeah, there's lots of other stuff we can talk about, though. I mean, there's plenty of movies we like.
Oh yeah. Just had an idea.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we should do something like what we did tonight, but for movies instead.
This is where you're gonna have me watch like a whole bunch of Lynch movies in it.
No. I was thinking John Wick. Don't worry, I want to be a little easier. But the fact you had still not gotten to John Wick is something I am trying to fix as desperately as I can, so...
I just keep forgetting we have them.
Well, unforget it, please. They're good. They're worth it. I will actually give you money if you don't at least like the first movie.
Really?
Don't hold me to that. Fuck. Okay, non-binding contract. Not even a contract. Non-binding illegal statement. Let's go. Okay, yeah. Fuck. Okay.
I get the idea.
Okay, cool.
But let's see. Yeah, plenty of movies. It also, we were trying to stay positive on these streams, so don't want to get too much into the negative, side of things. But some of these topics are going to require our honest opinions on things. For example, if we go ahead and hit the Star Trek stream, then yeah, there is stuff about the series which has not gone over very well with us.
Enterprise. Fuck Enterprise. I'm sorry, just gotta establish that so fucking hard.
4 seasons and exactly 4 good episodes, as far as I'm concerned. Also, let's not forget the freaking space hippies.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, like the third season of the original series as crap. I don't think Eugene's here anymore. Well, at any rate, yeah, the third season is more than a little inconsistent with its quality. Let's put it that way.
Stupid space hippies.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's not forget that one first season episode of Next Gen, the one that Jonathan Frakes called a racist piece of shit.
Piece of shit. It's unfortunate because like the lead guy from there was actually one of the characters from the John Carpenter movie Prince of Darkness, and he had some pretty memorable scenes in that one, I felt. But Jesse Lawrence Ferguson, I believe, was the actor, and yeah, to go from Prince of Darkness to that, I don't know if that crippled his career or what, but that'd be a huge shame if that were the case. So.
Well, look what happened with Charles Napier.
Oh yeah, he got promoted.
Yeah, went from being a freaking space hippie to being this hard-bitten military type in most of his movies.
Yeah, and hey, he even managed to play that in one of the episodes of Deep Space Nine,
which was great.
Which is one of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine. Yes.
With a finger. Well, Kate, the original series is a good starting point. So
Absolutely, yes. I have a lot of things to say about the original series. There are definitely some things that don't hold up for it, but by and large, the first two seasons and most of the movies are very, 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 very worth everyone's time.
mm-hmm.
And a few choice episodes from season 3 are worth it, but that is... Yeah, no, that's one of them. Day of the Dove is also very good.
I like the Enterprise incident.
Enterprise incident. Oh, yeah, well, is that the one with the lady Romulan commander or whatever it was?
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. Hey, Snarb, I'll tell you, you did not miss much. There might be a few to get on, but I would say that you only really need the first two seasons, and you've seen 95% that's worth seeing of the original series outside of the movies. In my opinion, anyway. Introduce illness to a world that was... Was that for the world is hollow and I have touched the sky?
No, I think that was the Mark of Gideon.
Mark of... I don't remember that one so well. Fuck me. Also, my memory is kind of iffy, so, for a lot of things, and...
My biggest... let me just say, my biggest memory of that episode is Kirk wandering around an abandoned Enterprise, and every so often you get a view of the outside, and there's, like, a crap ton of people staring in at him. Kind of creepy.
That does actually sound creepy. Maybe that one's worth tracking down. Been a long time, whatever the case. You know what was not so good in episode?
Which one?
The one where Kirk thought he was a Native American, or whatever.
Kirok.
Jesus. Some things about the original series are kind of an ooch.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And Snarb, did you actually see the episode with Space Lincoln?
Yes, the Savage Curtain. That one is weird, and it does have a little bit of a cringy part with Uhura, but it was one of the more interesting episodes of Season 3, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Richard does not like the Savage Curtain, apparently. Totally fair. I would say that even... The thing about Season 3 is that even some of the episodes that are somewhat better liked are still divisive. Like, I'm pretty sure K-Rad actually hated the Enterprise incident, which is kind of a hot take, but, to each their own in that one, I can only say. But yeah, TOS by and far really does still hold up, aside from a few iffies here and there, but the episodes that land are fucking classics for a reason, and I would still have my children watch them, which I hope don't actually exist. My theoretical children, yes.
All I know is that Season 3 gave us the Tholians, and for that alone, it was worth it.
The musical stinger, that wasn't the one. The one I'm thinking of was the one from Amok Time that was... It was used in an early version of The Simpsons. Hey, Snarb, if you can find which music that specifically is, let me know. I am interested to... Or... Oh, no, it was the... Yes, okay. Okay, I'm not going to copyright it, but yeah, the famous... That track is so famous, it even made its way into Futurama at some point.
I love that bit.
Let's claw flock begin.
Yeah, rise for our national anthem. They start playing that, and Fry's just like, but yeah, that was that series is still watchable though, regardless of having it. How did Fry put it? 78 episodes, about 30 good ones.
30 of them any good. Yeah.
Perhaps you're thinking about one man play about Vincent Van Spock. I mean Van Gogh. Damn.
I love the bit where he takes Nimoy's head and then front row from Jonathan Frakes. I have a mental image in my head. That's what basketball feels as soon as the Super Bowl is over. I don't know why I associate that with that. Just
front row. I also like the bit where they have to ditch the bodies and they bring the heads, and Fry's like, "Look, Leonard, we're light enough to carry all the tapes."
I'm living in a gefilte jar.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines, favorite exchanges was, when I directed Star Trek 4, I got a good performance out of Bill because I respected him so much. And when I directed Star Trek 5, you go ahead.
I got a magnificent performance out of me because I respected me so much.
That's not only one of the greatest episodes ever of Futurama, but I think it really is a fair tribute to the actual original series as well. And
out of all the surviving actors, the only one who didn't agree to do it was James Doohan, and his response when he saw the script was basically no way.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. And while it is a little mean, I do like what they did with Welshie. I'm not going
to lie. Not to mention that bit where Nimoy and Shatner are talking. Wasn't there an episode where I threw my shoe at the enemy? You mean Doohan? Yeah. Classic stuff. We'll have to bring that up when we do the Trek stream.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure there is going to be a Trek stream at this rate. For some reason, it's just something I eminently find myself talking with Rob about half the time. It's just so much to cover, and it's still fucking great after all these years. So
Star Trek as a franchise still has legs.
Yeah, that too. I actually did recently get back on viewing an episode of Discovery, so I gotta go on and actually finish that damn series already.
Well, sad as I was that Lower Decks ended, I'm rather happy that I got to see the whole thing.
Same here, yes. Yeah, Lower Decks is just so much better than it has any right to be. If anyone's actually been hesitant on it, yeah, definitely go for it. This stopped becoming a music stream. This became a preview for the Star Trek stream.
Kinda, yeah. It happens.
Anyway. Yes, I don't know if we should wind down for now, if there's anything else we wanted to cover or whatever.
Music-wise, we covered the majority of it last time. Unless you want to get a little negative.
Typo negative? Because I'm positive on them.
So you're typo positive.
I forget what blood type, but I think I might actually be O positive, but frankly I don't fucking remember, so yeah, I don't. I got nothing.
On the next episode of Dyer's Place.
We need a musical sing, like that's the Gracie Films music, never mind.
I could have Bromley compose one.
That would be cool, yes.
I mean, he did give me a couple of things here, like, for example... Oh, no, wait, that wasn't him. That was somebody else.
Well, darn.
Like this one, for example. I got some more stuff in here by him, but... Ranma? Was that what the gong was from?
Oh, I don't know much about Ranma 1/2, except I made the most amazing joke ever based on that series that I'm still really proud of myself for. But I'm not sure if I should mention it live. I don't know. It's also somewhat embarrassing. I don't know.
Now, we could conceivably do an anime stream, too, at some point. I know there's a couple people who are here who might want to get in on that.
That's one I'm going to have to be quieter on, because I feel that's a field I am a little less better equipped to discuss than other fields, personally.
I go up to 1995, and that's it.
Yeah, I went through a period where I kind of hated anime, but, like, I am coming back around to appreciating it, but in a very limited capacity. All I can say is I finally got on Trigun, and I fucking loved it, so... Yeah, if we discuss 90s anime, I'd love to discuss Trigun and Cowboy Bebop, and... I guess Neon Genesis Evangelion, but spoilers, I'm not really a fan of it. I just watched it just to get what all the references were about.
See, I'd rather talk about a lot of the OVAs that came out, like Maddox 01 and Riding Bean and stuff like that.
I can't talk about Writing Bean, but
All right, Rich. Have a good one.
hey, thanks for stopping in, Richard. We'll see you later, sir. You take care.
But yeah, a lot of the OVAs that came out back then, those were stuff that we that's what got me into a lot of anime.
Yeah, there's a lot of that I really need to catch up on. I still haven't fucking seen Area 88, and I know I should have by now.
You're missing out. That was
For
so
as much
good.
of a fan, for as much of a fan as I am of UN Squadron, it's like it's free real estate. What the hell, you idiot?
And there was a lot of stuff in the early '90s I saw that I probably can't discuss on a stream.
Porn,
Hentai.
as they call it.
Yes.
Yes.
Sokidoji. Legend of the Overfiend.
Oh, Vampire Hunter D. No, I have seen that one too. That's a
Love
good.
Vampire Hunter D.
That's a definite good one. So.
Yeah, D was great, and let's see, my own small anime collection over here. I did get the Zillion Blu-rays that came out a few years back,
Oh, nice.
and let's see. I do like Studio Ghibli stuff.
Fuck, I never saw Bloodlust. I still have to get on that one. I know it's quite different from the '80s feature. So.
That's the one that was had heavy influence on Castlevania.
Yes, yes, very nice. Sorry, Rob, I cut you off. What'd you mention?
About what?
You mentioned some other series. Yeah,
Zillion?
Sharon? Zillion, right. No, wait. No, someone else said something else. I'm getting confused. God damn it.
You're confused.
Yeah, again, it's getting late. Sharon, I did actually see the first few seasons or so of of the Pokemon anime when I was young. I mean, it was a big fucking craze. How could I not?
Prepare for trouble. Make it double.
Double, yes, yeah. I mean, yeah. That seriously give us the Team Rocket duo who somehow the games I think held off from actually having, or at least making them major characters or whatever. It's pretty crazy, whatever the case. But
I'll tell you what I couldn't get into when it came to anime.
What's that?
Dragon Ball Z.
Me neither. That is a total non-starter. So, if anyone wanted us to discuss Dragon Ball Z, you're out of luck. Sorry. I just the stereotype I have in my head is that it's kind of basically everything wrong with shonen anime. So, I don't know if that's unfair, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
When you have single fight scenes that last for like 3 months.
Okay, thankfully, everyone seems to agree about our stance on DBZ, so let us consider that matter closed forever and permanently. So,
Yes, consider the matter closed. It is a forbidden subject.
yep. Yeah, I mean, they say that the manga is better, but it's like, I can't be arsed. I'm sure there's better manga I could be reading too, so, like, what the fuck?
I actually had 2 introductions to anime.
Oh, what's that?
Well, the first one was before I even knew what anime was.
Yes.
That would have been in the early 80s when Robotech first started there.
Oh, nice.
And also we got our first American translation of Mazinger Z.
Amazing. Oh, yes. Yeah, mechs were getting really big as well.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
Around that time.
Voltron.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was just, that was the first intro. The second intro would have been in the early 90s when Bromley got his copy of Akira.
Yeah, Akira.
That was amazing for what it was. Especially at the time.
It was, but
Yeah,
Not a big fan of it. I'm
just
sorry.
think about the time when it came out.
I
It,
know,
and
I know. It was big for its time,
the
but I just don't
animation
think
was
it
so
holds.
fluid in that.
Ugh. The animation, sure, but the plot was what was Bupkis. Like, I
It,
know they say you're supposed to read the manga, but doesn't it just kind of fail as an adaptation if it doesn't adequately
oh
convey the.
yeah,
I'm being a turbo nerd asshole right now. I realize
yeah.
this.
Akira was an attempt to condense like 3 volumes of manga down into one movie.
It was an admirable attempt for the time, I'll give it
Mm-hmm.
that.
But the ending, I just remember like, what just happened?
Yeah. Also, it doesn't treat women very well, so there's that. But
Yeah, well, it was.
I left you tongue tied there. I'm sorry. I'm being a dickhead. I should I'll be quiet.
Okay, well, you know what I really did like? The Running
What's
Man.
that? The Running Man's a fucking great movie, but it's not anime,
I'm
so.
not talking about the movie.
Oh wait, right. What Neo Tokyo was it?
Yes, it was part of the Neo Tokyo anthology.
That I need to actually fucking see. Yes, but
I first
uh,
saw The Running Man on Liquid Television.
ooh, very nice.
And I remember I had no context, so I called it the F-Zero anime.
Not from what I understand, genuinely not a bad way of putting it.
It's just when the crazy stuff happens, when you find out that guy's got psychic abilities, and it's like that's not anything that ever happened in F-Zero.
No, but I do know that when all the new racers came around in F-Zero X, one of the racers was called the Skull. And he was actually this like really talented racer who actually died on the circuit, but he resurrected himself because he just wanted to race more. And like he's not at all evil. He's a skeleton who just loves to race, and that's why he brought himself back for no malicious purpose. And it's like that guy's cool. I like him. We should be more like the Skull.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the biker clown.
Biker clown.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's right. That was from Akira as well. It was
yeah.
early on.
Like the
I
clown
might be a
gang.
little disparaging in Akira. There are things I like about it. I just feel, and this is the hoariest, most cliche thing I could possibly say, I just feel like it was ultimately less than the sum of its parts. That's all.
Yeah, you take away from it what you take away from it. At the time, when it first came out, I didn't even know that there was a manga.
Yeah, totally fair. Probably not a lot of others did too, so,
Not in America, anyway.
nope.
I The few mangas that I knew of at the time were stuff like Lone Wolf and Cub.
Ooh, well, that's a good one from what I understand.
And Area 88.
Which, again, I still need to get on. Me, a UN Squadron fan. What the hell's wrong with me?
Well, the Area 88 manga actually went into so much more detail than the OVAs, which go into a lot more detail than the games. So,
Yeah, no, that does not surprise me. I mean, the games, you basically win the war. From what I understand, things turn out a lot grimmer in the actual story of the
yes.
original source. So,
And
war
yes,
sucks, people.
and Akira was a technical achievement. It was amazing.
I'm
But
not going to deny that. I'm not going to be enough of a butthead that, yeah, no, I'm not going to let. It
uh,
looks and sounds fantastic, and, like, what's the crazy opening music? I do like that. That's, very eclectic, strange for its time.
and
Uh,
I will also say that I found a lot of value in the works of Studio Ghibli.
as did a lot of people.
My favorite one is still Castle in the Sky.
I think if I had to call a favorite Ghibli film, it would probably be that one. And there's a very like dumb, simple. Oh, you are, you like for let's say a real simpleton's reason that I like that one. It's one of the very few Ghibli films that has a genuine antagonist in it,
Hmm.
and he is a real interesting piece of work.
Yes, he is.
Because a lot of other Ghibli films don't really have an antagonist, or they're like more slice of life conflicts that I admit to sound like a plebeian, does not interest me as much for the most part. I am not the hugest Ghibli fan myself, but I do acknowledge they have done a lot of good for the world, and I can see why so many people enjoy their works the way they do. But if you want to ask me about my favorite anime films, the late great Satoshi Kon is where it's fucking at. Have you seen any of his films, Rob?
The name doesn't sound familiar, but what did he do?
That would be Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress, Tokyo Godfathers, and Paprika.
I'm familiar with Tokyo Godfathers, but I've never seen it, and I haven't seen the other ones either.
Aw, you gotta see at least one of them then. They're fucking awesome. Perfect Blue is not an everyday watch, though. That one gets scary and disturbing.
Now, Jay mentioned Nausicaa, which is...
yeah, Nausicaa's quite good.
That is great. Actually, want to hear a funny story?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. What's up?
My girls were very heavy into Studio Ghibli when they were young. In fact,
Cool.
they still like them. I mean, one of my oldest favorite movies is Howl's Moving Castle, if that tells you anything.
All right.
But my middle one was very big into Nausicaa. And you know how she could talk to animals, basically.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the grocery store one day, and she was asking me questions about the lobsters in the lobster tank. And I was like, well, they're here to be sold as food. So as we're getting really ready to leave, she waves to the lobsters. She's like, bye, lobsters. Sorry you have to get eaten. The lobsters went nuts.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh my god, how the fuck?
Nearest thing I could figure is she just channeled her inner Nausicaa.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So
she might have like an Aquaman-ass power there. Holy crap.
I don't know. Oh, Grave of the Fireflies. You brought up Grave of the Fireflies, Kate. Oh, man.
I actually did see that recently, and I genuinely enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I mean,
That
don't get me
movie.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. It still wanted to make me die when it was
Yeah.
all said and done. But I am genuinely glad I got around to watching it. It is definitely one that everyone should see at least once in their life.
Oh, absolutely.
If not ever again.
That movie was just a real kick in the head.
The thing about it is that it's very low key with what it does. It's like it's not like super in your face. It just kind of depicts everything as it is, and it's just
Jay,
I just like how it was handled.
I gotta address this. Jay, that is how I first saw Nausicaa. Warriors of the Wind.
Warriors of
And it is butchered so badly.
Sharon, it's spelled Nausicaa, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I remember renting that crap. I understand that Hayao Miyazaki was not happy.
From what I'm just hearing of this now, I don't think anyone would be happy.
No. And I think Disney had said they were going to make some edits to one of the movies they were releasing, despite the fact that they had promised him that they wouldn't. And he sent them a package. They opened up the package, and there was a sword inside with a note attached to it. No cuts.
Cute, very cute. Yeah. Didn't know Miyazaki-san was such a punmeister.
There was another anime I saw around the same time. I'm sorry, but just thinking about it is making me laugh.
Yes.
It was some 70s science fiction hentai anime.
Oh. Okay.
And some sleazeball porn company got a hold of it and ended up, what did they call it? They called it Gonad the Barbarian.
Hang on.
It's so
I'm
ridiculous. It is so terrible.
Jesus Christ, Denton. I mean,
It, it is
what the?
so bad.
I feel like I should look this up, but I might regret it if I do.
It's actually pretty tame as far as stuff goes, but oh my god, some of the things they do in that.
Rare SF. Ooh, no, no, I don't like seeing that word. Oh Jesus. Ugh. Oh, oh dear. Oh dearie me.
What are you?
It's actually on the Internet Archive. Jesus Christ. No, no. This seems like a matter for sickos and sickos alone. So,
But
oh right, yeah, yeah. Snarf has also found the thing.
there is actually some quotes from the butchered version, which we used for a while. We rented this back during the apartment days.
Do I want to know?
Well, let's put it this way: one of them was, "Oh damn! Oh yeah, god damn! Oh."
So, an Elvis impersonator is getting his jollies.
No.
Okay, good.
Another good one was, "What does all this fucking flashing mean?"
What the Christ?
And then there's the one I probably shouldn't even talk about that line.
Not PC, I take it.
About the farthest thing you can get from it. But it was
Yeah.
the heroine's weapon.
Was it anything like a cock rocket or something like that?
It was a sword.
Okay. I can infer where that is going, I'm sure.
And if you push this little button here, it
Oh,
shoots
dear.
out a heavy, sticky fluid which paralyzes your opponent for up to 9 full months.
Classy. Classy Freddy Blassie.
They weren't. This sleaze bag porno company wasn't known as Brothers Grime for no reason.
Where are all these fucking puns coming from?
I don't
What?
know.
My God.
But all I know is that, we watched that and laughed our asses off.
It does sound like a curious time, to say the least.
It is so. It stood out amongst all the other porno flicks in the back room of the video store.
Well, it sounds original. I guess I can say that at least.
Oh, it's so terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sounds like it.
Oh, so bad.
Yep.
But going on to perhaps some more serious anime.
Yes, let's.
What were some of the other ones we saw at the time? Because we'd go down to Enterprise 1701 and Bromley would pick up the occasional VHS tape they had there. I know that's where he got Riding Bean from. Picked up Maddox 01 there. And the first 3 episodes of Zillion, I think it was.
Cool.
So it's nice with the Blu-ray because they put them all, including the episodes we never got over here. They only subbed the first 13 episodes or dubbed them.
Very cool.
Riding Bean's great. I've never actually seen Gunsmith Cats.
I really should get around the Gunsmith Cat at some point. This seems like some good stuff.
Trying to see from here if I can by my tiny little anime collection. And I can't. So I just know I have some Ghibli. I have the original Vampire Hunter D. I have Riding Bean. Yes. They were supposed to do a whole series based on Bean, but it didn't happen. And instead, Rally ended up being the one to get the series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's one for you. Did you ever hear of Dragon's Heaven?
I don't believe I have, no.
I'm still not 100% sure what happens in this one. And there is a sub version on YouTube.
Okay.
But basically it has something to do with this war that happened with these weird looking giant robots. And so many years later, the good ones dug up by some blonde girl. And the bad one's still out there flying around. And they have a fight at the end.
That's cool.
And also, the good robot is very modest because at one point the blonde gets out of her like little swimming pool there in the middle of the desert, just completely naked, and he's just like covering his eyes and handing her a towel.
Nerd. No, I'm just kidding.
And he's a giant robot, but it also opens with a live action sequence,
Oh,
completely
really?
done with models and stuff.
Hmm. Neat.
Yeah, and as long as to kind of circle things back around to video games,
Yeah.
I still remember watching the dubbed release of Dragon Warrior.
Oh yeah, that did get one of those at some point.
Like 13 or 14 episodes, ran at 6 a.m. every Sunday morning here in the U.S.
Neat.
Bromley recorded most of them.
Hmm.
Only way I was up to see them. And then they replaced it with Captain Planet, and I was pissed off at Captain Planet ever since.
You
Until,
know, I'm not sure I actually knew that.
I discovered later on the reason that happened was because they ran out of episodes.
Oh, so it wasn't really Captain Planet's fault then.
Mm-hmm. And then there was Samurai Pizza Cats.
Oh, cool.
That one, apparently, they made the whole story up as they went along because there was no scripts for them to use.
Whoopsies.
Like, the original Japanese scripts got lost along the way, and so they made up their, yeah, somebody cue that bird. Yep. I hope you like the show. It's the best that they could do. And it ended up being really funny as a result.
Nice.
And on top of that, it made a good, like, baby's first Ninja Gaiden on the Famicom.
Oh yeah, that did get a game. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Fun stuff. But that's just a couple of the topics we could cover. I don't really want to talk Star Wars because apparently these days to be a Star Wars fan you have to hate Star Wars. So
It's kind of a damaged property, unfortunately. Plus, I haven't really been keeping up with the shows they've been releasing, so I probably wouldn't have much of a leg to stand on there.
well, some have been good, some have been yeah.
Yeah, it's the impression that I get.
Yeah. Really, they actually did an early dub at Tekkaman Blade.
Cool.
The only thing I know about that was the Super Famicom game.
Oh, I didn't know that got one.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid shooter slash one-on-one fighter.
Cool.
I also remember the show Macron 1.
Hmm.
Came out around the
I don't
same
know
time
for
as
sure.
Voltron.
Neato.
Another giant mechs in space thing. I know we have more stuff. We'll have to consider what we're going to be doing next, but it looks like right now Star Trek is going to be the next one we're going to be doing.
Yeah, yeah, especially if we can get Eugene to agree to it. So, yeah, I'm definitely up for that.
So we'll just have to see how we're going to do it, and because we're talking about a series here that spans 50 years. So 60 almost now, I think.
8.
So there's a lot to cover. We'll have to narrow the field.
Yep.
So, and since it's going on midnight and whatnot, and I'm starting to lose my focus, I think it's time we signed off.
Yeah, I'm kind of really out of it myself right now, but hey, I had fun with this, and again, I am up for reprise of the challenge at some point. So
another musical challenge. Good night, Kate, and good night, everyone who stuck around till the end.
Yeah. Always great to have everybody. It's been fun as per usual. So you all take care and
Thanks, Jay.
Have a good night, and we will catch you when we catch you next.
Yep. So everybody have a fun.
Enjoy.